do the damn thing.
We should be going live now.
Dope, dope. Yeah, we is live now.
Welcome everyone.
Live, baby.
This is Andres Restart, your person that talks and stuff, the moderator, host of this show. This is the weekly podcast on my channel, Andres Restart, and I am joined by my good friends Brandon from What About Nintendo and Will from Lil Will the Deity. The links to both their channels are in the description below, so if you like them, you like what they have to say, make sure to check out their channels, alright? And even if you don't like what they say, give them another chance. Check out their channels. But, anyways, you know, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, so I'll just briefly go over the topics for everyone. So we're going to be talking about these third-party dock issues, and then maybe kind of, you know, go a little bit more into depth about our, I guess, our experiences with different peripherals for different systems, and how some of them have been janky, how some of them have been great. We'll talk about that for a little bit, just to kind of, you know, warm ourselves up for the rest of the discussion tonight. We're going to be talking about this Wario trademark that came up, and talk about the potential implications of that. I don't know much. We'll get into it. And then we're going to be talking about apparently a Donkey Kong tease that came out from Nintendo of Italy, and if that may mean that there's actually a Donkey Kong game in the, you know, in the works. And then we will be talking about what Retro Studios may be doing, since that's also sort of potentially correlated with Donkey Kong. And then we're going to be getting into Metroid Prime 4, and how Unreal Engine 4 could sort of, what it could do for the game, the implications of that, because there's some information out there suggesting that Unreal Engine 4 is the engine for Metroid Prime 4, but we'll get into that. And then we're going to be breaking down that alleged Pokemon Switch image leak. Well, I'll put it up on the podcast later. We're going to look at it, talk about it, debate about it for a little bit, and come to a group determination of how real or fake this may be. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be, I guess, the big topic for discussion today. And then we'll be, you know, we'll wind things down talking about E3, these E3 tournaments, and other potential announcements that Nintendo could be making in the future. We'll probably actually, you know, try to figure out what other kind of announcements they could be making, so stay tuned for that as well. And that's basically the outline of the topics we're going to be going into for today's or tonight's discussion, this week's discussion. So, yeah, lots of good stuff. I'm pretty excited to get into all of this stuff, guys, but, what do you guys think? Brandon, Will, just kind of, you know, what's been going on with your weeks, and, you know, I'll say hi to the chat, and then we'll get the show on the road.
Yeah, I've been doing good. Playing a lot of PS4 as I was doing last week. Still getting through. Played a lot of Horizon yesterday. Actually, played that for hours and hours. Played some Uncharted during stream today. So lots of more video games than usual, which is I'm always happy about, and some video games I don't usually play. So it's been nice.
Cool. What about you, Will? What's up?
I haven't really been doing much since my break started, but I just watched that anime called Pop Team Epic. It's pretty much like one big meme, and I've been playing more Bayonetta 2, Arkham City, and I just bought Psychonauts and some Persona 5 themes for my PlayStation 4, but that's pretty much it. Just been trying to keep up with the news, man.
Cool. I didn't realize you guys were even on break. That's good for you guys. Good for you and your break, and you know you're still younger, you know, like 19, you know, life. So my week is decent, I guess. I don't even know what happened this week. Yeah, I have no clue. I guess my week was uneventful. Yeah, pretty much it. Just been thinking about Pokemon, working. I won basketball. I mean, I have like a little fantasy league with my friends. I won that, so you know, yeah. But yeah, nothing.
You mean real basketball or
fantasy basketball?
Oh, okay.
Extra nerd basketball, where you play, you know, like a fantasy.
Extra
sports.
nerd mode. Yeah.
Yeah, extra nerd mode. So I did that, and yeah, that's really it. I haven't, you know, nothing super interesting this week for me. So sorry. But yeah, I'm kind of ready to get into this discussion, but let's see how everyone is doing in the chat. For the record, for those watching, you know, for the purposes of making sure this is a quality discussion, we'll try to focus on questions in the chat in between each topic. So if we're not answering your questions or paying attention to you during, while we're talking, it's because we're within a topic, but we will try to get to the chat in between each topic. So just keep that in mind, guys. But anyways, what is up, Sabbath64? Hey, Blackstar Dude. How you guys doing? What? Wait, hold on. What am I seeing? I'm seeing that apparently Sabbath heard that Smash Bros. 5 is going to be released October 23rd. Hey, Snowman. I don't know. I mean, it's possible for sure. Like, it's not a bad time to come out, I guess. I haven't heard about that, though, myself, so I can't really speak to its legitimacy.
October 23rd, huh?
What do you guys think about that?
That's a Sunday.
Oh, yeah. There was a time where some Nintendo games would come out on Sundays. I don't remember.
Oh, my bad. That's a Tuesday. No.
Oh.
No, I was on December. October 23rd is a Tuesday.
Okay.
That's
what's
Nintendo releases game on Fridays.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's the question? I'm trying to. Somebody keeps texting me. It's very important. I'm trying to actually get paid for some work I'm doing. What's the question? A little distracted.
Someone heard that Smash was coming October 23rd, and we found out.
Oh, yeah. I saw that in the comments. I mean, that could work. That'd be only, depending on when in September the online service comes out, that'd only be a little bit after it comes out. So, I mean, if they absolutely can't, I think they should get it out online, like alongside the online service. But if they can get it out even just like a little bit after, that would work. I mean, like the app came out before Splatoon 2 did, which was like the main use of the app. So,
that's actually like you said, that's a good, because I feel like if they released the app and the game separately, the use of that app would not exist. So yeah, that would be a good idea if they just stuck to the idea of releasing it alongside the online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're all still on that September sort of thought process, but it can still come. I'm just saying, like conceivably, it can still come out in October and still be supportive of that big September push. Maybe they have another game in the works that's going to be like their big online game to come out in September. So we'll see what happens.
Comes out on Christmas or like sometime in December.
Wait, what about what's coming in December?
No, I'm saying as far as we know, like you were saying, it could come out anytime. But it's
as long as it's 2018, it still will give that the online server that push. September is my personal bet, because the timing seems perfect. But they could still do October and it would work out fine. So
I mean, so many people said September like simultaneously. Like it was just everyone had the same idea at once, so it just makes sense.
Right.
That's kind of why I'm straying away from that, because I know that the more obvious something seems, the more Nintendo sees it as their chance to do the unorthodox.
Yeah, that might be true as well.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin Rivera. How you doing, man? Thanks for checking out my video. I'm glad you liked the Pokemon video I did. If you guys haven't seen my Pokemon video, I went and made a Pokemon video last Friday, just kind of talking about my expectations for Pokemon Switch, kind of going over the history of some of the Pokemon games and what that could suggest for Pokemon Switch. So check that out. Kevin, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching it. And he's saying that he personally doesn't like the leak that was dropped a couple of days ago. He's referring to that alleged image that we're going to be analyzing later on in this podcast. So I don't necessarily like it either, but we'll get to that later on. What is up, No Filter Nintendo Podcast? How you doing, man? So is there anything that you guys want to just touch on before we jump into the topics?
No.
I'm good.
Okay. So guys, I'm actually using a slightly different setup now. You may not be able to tell because it's mostly like background stuff. But let me know how the audio is working, how the background music is working, how our voices are. Let me know so I can fine-tune that if there's anything wrong with it or it could be improved upon. So yeah, anyway, if it's not perfect, guys who watch this after the fact, please bear with me. I'm trying to make this better. So without further delay, let's actually get this started. So first topic, third-party dock issues. Like I'm sure you guys have heard, and if you haven't, I'll explain. Basically, there are a number of third-party docks out there for the Nintendo Switch. A dock is where you place the Nintendo Switch in that little platform thing, that little cradle that connects it to the television so you can play on television, and it also charges it. Now, the Nintendo version of it is fine, I think, but it is a little bit larger than what some people may want. It is also $90, so it's kind of expensive if you want to get an additional one or if your dock breaks. So a lot of people have sort of considered buying third-party docks, and there's a bit of a market for third-party docks. There's a whole bunch out there. Some of them are just like little stands that you just put your Switch in, and for a while, most of them were working pretty fine. But since the 5.0 update, we've been getting a lot of reports about Nintendo Switches no longer working and people losing all their save data, even though they can get their Switches back because, you know, it's not really their fault. In most cases, they're still losing all of their data, and that's, you know, that sucks, right? So, you know, there's some issues there. What is it exactly that is causing these Switches to short out when they're running on these third-party docks? Yeah, it's a little weird, but what are your guys' thoughts? So who wants to go first? Will, Brandon?
Yeah, I know some stuff about this, so I guess I'll go first for this one. I mean, from what I've heard, they essentially repurposed like Samsung equipment, like stuff from I think the S series of phones, even like some of the like random stuff. Like they just repurposed it and started using it for this. So it's just like, well, no, duh, it doesn't work. It's not made for that. It's not even close. Like they pretty much just slapped some stuff in there. It's like, this will work, and then called it a day. Like, I mean, at some point in time, you get what you pay for. That's understood. These are cheaper, so you shouldn't expect it to be as good as the normal ones. But I mean, this is even farther than that. This is like breaking your Switch, making you lose your save data. So I think this is definitely a problem that third-party companies who are making these docks and stuff need to be aware of, because you can't just be selling stuff that legit breaks it, because that goes way farther than just the standard you get what you pay for.
Yeah. What do you have to say to this, Will? If you even have an opinion on it.
No, I for the most part, I don't care. But I will say a couple of things. I do think, to an extent, multiple people can be blamed. Like Nintendo for not really having save data. I guess that sort of goes along with, like, it's Nintendo. What are you gonna do? But I do feel like they're gonna have something like that later. But like as far as the right now, I feel like it's Nintendo. What are you gonna do? You should know that, and when you look at all these other stuff, like there are third-party controllers that are actually licensed by Nintendo, et cetera, but there are no third-party docks. So you honestly have to be careful. It's like Nintendo clearly doesn't approve of any third-party docks, and I think they've been vocal about it. And if they haven't, they've literally shown it. Like there are no other docks than the Nintendo dock that is actually licensed. So,
very true.
But yeah, I feel like multiple parties can be blamed.
Yeah, you bring up some good points. Like, yeah, I mean, it definitely is on Nintendo to an extent because, well, one, right, they don't really have a reliable saving feature. They should have some sort of cloud saving, or at least saves that are locked to your actual account. Like that makes sense. That is doable, and hopefully that will be resolved when Nintendo's online service comes out in September. Hopefully, we don't really know. So there's that. And then there is a whole other issue that, well, one, yeah, a lot of third-party docks aren't even actually running on this appropriate voltage level, and that has led to a lot of the issues. And I guess the update sort of brought that to fruition. And I mean, maybe you can blame Nintendo for not really taking that into consideration, third-party docks, but they also shouldn't have to, right? Like, they're not responsible for what other companies create. Like, if they don't, it's up to them to do the appropriate, R&D and testing to make sure products don't break, right? So Nintendo did the appropriate testing for their actual hardware, and it works fine. So I don't know. I mean, I typically, when it comes to docks and things that are for the actual system, I don't like using third party anything. Controllers right. Is the exception. Sometimes controllers are okay, but I'll usually wait it out, kind of see what the reviews are for that piece of hardware, because sometimes you don't know what kind of testing that third party that did for that piece of hardware. Sometimes it could be rigged or it could ruin your system. It's happened before. I mean, we're literally talking about it right now. Third-party docks ruining your Switches. So, you know, my opinion is just be careful, guys. Do your research, and, you know, if you really want to get a third-party dock because it is cheaper, do a lot of research on it. And if you don't feel comfortable yourself with these kind of purchases, ask someone else who's more comfortable with doing that kind of thing. But my personal opinion, I would stay away from every single third-party dock right now. I wouldn't touch any, not one. Like, I don't know for how long. It's gonna be a while before I feel comfortable considering a third-party dock. Let's just say that.
I'm never getting one unless it's licensed by Nintendo. Just no. My Switch is too valuable to me. My baby.
Also, I think the Switch is a little more sensitive. It's a more sensitive piece of tech than I think Nintendo fans are used to. Like the 3DS, I don't want to say 3DS. Like some Nintendo systems you can throw around, they're like made out of
the
Nintendo
original
or
DS.
whatever.
The original DS was a beast.
So I feel like this.
Game Boy Advance was even more of a beast. The GameCube was a weapon, bro. You could hold the GameCube and just go on a rampage. Like, that thing was dangerous, right? I remember, like, this, what was it? X-Attack. It was an old G4 show. Some of you may not even know about G4, but G4 is like an old gaming network. There actually used to be, like, a gaming network, like, kind of like MTV for music, but, like, games. And I forget the name of the show. It had, no, you know what? I don't forget. Don't worry about the names. But they did this whole thing. I think it was X-Play. Yeah, I think it was X-Play. Someone in the chat might be able to correct me on that, or verify that. But they had this one episode where they tested the durability of the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. And they did all these tests. Like, they got a sledgehammer. They dropped it from, like, 20 feet, 60 feet. And, like, the GameCube, you know, after all of the mayhem they did to that thing, it was still working 100% fine. The only minor issues was where, like, when you would open, like, the disc slot, like, it was a little janky, but it would still close, the disc would still run. And the other two systems died, like, after the first or two tests. Like, the GameCube was just
the original Xbox was so weak. Like, that thing just broke on its own. I find Xbox consoles in general don't really hold up very well. I heard the Xbox One X is better, but none of the other ones in my experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to a degree, the Switch is yeah, it's sensitive, but I mean, it's not like terrible. I'd say it's not like, you know, your iPhone, you drop it once and it's just shattered, you know.
Right. That's why I compared it to just other Nintendo products. I think it's so far the most sensitive Nintendo product that's been put out there, like as far as consoles go. Yeah, it's definitely not bad. It's actually, I think it's pretty compact and durable, like in general.
I haven't allowed myself
as
to
far as
drop
like
it.
The other Nintendo products go, I think it's pretty sensitive.
The way it's structured doesn't look as durable, but it doesn't, for what it is, it seems durable, right? But also at the same time, because for what it is also inherently more flimsy.
I think it's about as durable as they could have made it, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, they could always release, like, I mean, I'm sure that there are, like, little, like, Switch cases, right? Like, where you can still see the screen, but it's like a piece of rubber that goes around it or something.
I hate those.
Yeah.
I hate having cases on things. Like, my phone case is very minimalistic. It's like...
Yeah.
It's really small, so...
But, nevertheless, there's a market for it. Especially if you're younger and you tend to drop it more often and you get to carry it everywhere you go. It makes sense. I mean, my phone probably dropped it like 1,000 times and it still works. You know, I've had it... I should probably upgrade. But, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I need to upgrade.
Snowman said the Switch survived that 100-foot fall. I think the Joy-Con that is the thing that absorbed most of the impact, I think.
Yeah.
Because they protrude.
Right. But if it falls on a different side, it might not have.
Actually, yeah, the Joy-Con don't seem durable to me. Like, I hear weird noises from them. Some parts are a little loose. Like, they're not broken. They still function, but they're not, like, perfect. Like, you can tell, like, little minor inadequacies, like, from the get-go.
Actually, the Joy-Cons are, like, especially the joysticks, they're so flimsy.
You think the
They just
joysticks are
break and
funky?
they get
I
like
think the
dust in
joystick
them and
broke.
then they just stop working properly. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
My two
might
Joy-Cons
did
make
that.
my two Joy-Cons make different noises. Like they both sound different. And I understand
I wonder what
technically
that
they have
does.
different hardware in them because the right Joy-Con has an IR sensor, but like it sounds vastly different, and it's weird. But the Switch itself is durable. The Joy-Cons, well, they haven't broken yet, so I guess they're okay, but they're not perfect. So yeah.
My brother just broke the joystick on one of my Joy-Cons. Luckily, I have a separate pairs though. I don't let them touch that one. Just like these are mine.
So just a couple quick shout outs. Thank you, Sabbath and No Filter, for letting me know about the audio. And thanks, Snowman, for verifying that it was X-Play that I was talking about, that old show on G4. So, is there anything else we want to say in relation to the third-party dock issues and just kind of like, different, like, I guess, peripherals and such?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have third-party controllers for the Switch. I have the Power A ones that look like Zelda and Mario, and like they stopped working. Like I plugged them in and they would not connect at all. I figured out the problem. I even sent an email to like Power A, and like they came back. They were like, "Oh, you just need to do a hard reset," which I didn't even know existed. I thought the normal reset was enough, but apparently there's a hard reset where you can hold down the power button for longer and it just turns itself on and off. That fixed it. So like third-party controllers and like hardware just comes with this like inherent jankiness to it. So I always prefer just paying more money to get the good stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I think this whole topic was kind of just common sense. That's part of why I didn't really care. You just always got to be careful when something isn't licensed by Nintendo. That's actually, I don't really think it's a big problem either. It's just widely covered and widely reported.
Right.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people get third-party docks. I've seen controllers, like stuff like that, but not a lot of people mod their stuff or get third-party docks.
Yeah, I mean, I personally feel like it's, worth mentioning. That's why it was a topic to bring up. But, like, it's just kind of one of those things where, like, some people aren't as, I guess, tech savvy or game savvy, and sometimes they just do some really weird stuff. Like, I remember during the Nintendo Wii era, like, Nintendo was getting sued by many people because their televisions were breaking. Because guess what? People were throwing their controllers at the television screen, which I thought was ridiculous. How could you just throw your controller at the television screen, right? But with the motion control nature of the Nintendo Wii, it was a different beast, and there's tons of people who weren't gamers buying the system. So there's just sometimes there are people.
Freaking wrist strap.
They added a wrist strap afterwards. Actually, the wrist strap.
Did they?
Well, they had a wrist strap. You're right, but they had new wrist straps. They created new wrist straps that were stronger, and those were supplied by Nintendo to anyone who requested it online for free. I requested 2 for free just because it was cool.
Just because you can.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. But let's move. Let's check the chat before we move on to the next topic. I think we're done here. Sabbath says we need a game.
I would say that it is a different beast. Like, you have to be pretty educated to know that there are other docks than the Nintendo produced dock. So I think these people just lack common sense for the most part. But also, like, they're, to an extent, Nintendo should have like the cloud saving stuff.
Right. I mean, often the truth is somewhere in the middle. Sometimes that things don't work out because some people don't know what they're doing. That is just the way life is. But whatever. I mean, here's the thing. Like, if they're selling it at a store, like, a lot of people have the confidence that it'll work out. You know what I mean? So, like, if you buy something at a GameStop,
how many docks are at the store?
For the record, I don't know if there are any third-party docks at, like, a GameStop. I haven't seen any. I'm just kind of saying, in general, when I buy something at GameStop, even if it's like a third-party thing, I kind of expect it to work, but sometimes it doesn't, right? So,
I bought things at like Best Buy and they don't work at all. It's just like, that was dumb. I paid like $30 for that. It didn't work.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let me check the chat first. Sabas is saying that we need a GameCube style Pro controller. I know a lot of people want that. There's a lot of demand for that. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if that's kind of an announcement at E3 or maybe a Smash Bros. Direct after E3. That's, you know, kind of like the, you know, the preliminary hype to Smash Bros. Before it comes out. Normally there's a big direct for each big Nintendo game like a month or a couple weeks before it comes out. So I wouldn't be shocked if like a GameCube style Pro controller is announced a few weeks before the launch of Super Smash Bros. This year. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I would say it's 50-50. They may just move on from the GameCube thing. What?
I said I'd say virtual console.
You'd say virtual console? Like, oh, you mean like a GameCube style Pro controller being announced when they announce virtual console?
Or, yeah, Joy-Con Pro controller, yeah.
Maybe. The other thing is that technically there is the GameCube port that is technically, it works on the Nintendo Switch as well, so you can just get the little GameCube adapter that came out for Wii U, plug it into your Switch via USB, and then plug in GameCube controllers that way. You can do that, and they did re-release a GameCube controller, a new one, during the Smash Bros. For Wii U, you know, hype and when that came out. So they could just re-release those and not actually have a GameCube-themed Pro controller.
Yeah, I think the GameCube.
I'd say they do it for virtual console, but if it was just Smash, I wouldn't see the point then.
For some people, that's the only point.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I think regardless, there is going to be some way to use a GameCube controller for Smash Brothers. Like I said, technically the GameCube adapter is already compatible with the Nintendo Switch, so you can get that thing and plug in your GameCube controller if you really want to be able to use GameCube controller for Smash Brothers. So, but for
some people, it's like an aesthetic though. Like by that, we shouldn't have a Xenoblade 2 Pro like stuff like that. Like there was really no point in that then. Like, so I feel like Nintendo would just do revisions on the design anyways.
There's actually a high likelihood. You know what? Now that I think about it, yeah, considering that there was a Splatoon Pro controller, there was a Xenoblade Pro controller, there's a really good chance there's going to be a Smash Bros. Pro controller. Now, when you think about it like that, like it makes too much sense because Smash Bros. Is like the kind of game where you really care about the controller more so than Xenoblade, more so than Splatoon. So now that I'm reminded of that, I think that I put it around 50-50. So yeah, that's my opinion. We'll see. Yeah. So, what Blackstar says, when his mom bought the Wii for him and his brother, they always used the Wii straps and the jackets. Yo, the jackets. I used to call them condoms. Because...
Gosh, I hate those things.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because they kind of like, when you held the Wii controller sideways, those like rubber straps or whatever you want, I call them condoms. Like it gave the controller more girth, and like it was easier to hold sideways, and it made it feel like a better, like, you know, sideways held controller. So it was pretty cool. It also made them more durable. You could chuck them at people, so it was kind of fun.
You could use them as actual nunchucks.
Yeah.
And if you have the nunchuck on there.
Yeah, I saw that. So let's move on. All right, so. Who wants to talk about this Wario trademark? Apparently there's a Wario trademark that came up, and it could mean that Warioland is on the way. I think it's possible. I mean, there was a Smash Bros. Trademark that came out, you know, last year, and Smash Bros. Is now confirmed. There was also an Animal Crossing trademark, and that still hasn't come out. But there was also a Breath of the Wild trademark, and Breath of the Wild had already come out, so I'm not really... 100%. I'm not 100% sure if a trademark actually means that a game is gonna follow. Sometimes it seems to be the case, and other times it's still kind of like up in the air from what I have seen. But I haven't like gone back, admittedly, and done all the research and checked every single trademark that Nintendo has put up over the years and seen their like history, you know, like a pattern of what games have actually come out. Do you guys know anything about this? Can you say anything to this topic?
I've never played a Wario game in my life.
Right, but what can you say to trademark history and games coming out?
It's not... A lot of people get too excited over trademarks, but there's been trademarks for all kinds of things. I'm pretty sure they've been renewing that Perfect Dark trademark for like forever. It's just nothing there.
It's just so it's just so no one else steals it.
Yeah. Apparently, this one seems to hint at there being a new game, so that's different. This one might be different. I haven't looked into it too much because I don't care about the Wario series. But maybe there might be something to this one. But most of the time, you'll see the news stories. Oh, Nintendo trademarked this and that and the other, and then nothing happens.
What do you think, Will?
Well, kind of like Brandon, where I don't care too much about the Wario series, but
I prefer
like you
Warioware.
said,
Just saying.
like you said,
Were you gonna say something? Will?
hold on, hold on. Like I was trying to say, my bad. Like I said, the last time Nintendo even like touched WarioWare, it was the 3DS Virtual Console, I want to say, and that was like not WarioWare, Warioland.
Right.
It was the 3DS Virtual Console, and yeah, pretty much. I do think something will come out of this. I don't know. I just have that feeling. Like realistically, I know it can go either way, but I do feel like something is going to come out of this one this time.
That may be.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where like you don't really know, right? But like Wario Land, like would be cool. I never played, any of them. I remember one on the GameCube which seemed interesting, but I never actually gave it a shot because at this time they had an allowance, so there's only so many games I could get. But we'll see what happens. Like I said before, I personally prefer Warioware, but if this were to come, right, like Wario Land, my impression is that it wouldn't be like a full scale, like, Mario Odyssey sort of 3D epic Wario game. I feel like if it does come, it would be more of like a 2D sort of eShop kind of game, which I think could be even better, actually. I think more people would be willing to give give Wario Land a shot if it was like a $20 sort of experience on the eShop. What do you guys have to say to that?
Would it play? I don't have much experience with this game. I saw some screenshots. Does it play kind of like 2D Mario? Because it looked like it was a 2D kind of platforming adventure kind of thing.
Kind of.
If it's like that, I mean, there's kind of an audience for that on the Switch because we don't have a 2D Mario on the system, so that could work out.
Yeah. You're just not a fan of any of this, Will, are you? You just don't care about poor old Wario. Poor fat old Wario.
Well, Luigi's better.
Yeah, that's true, but I do like Wario. Yeah, my bad. I got distracted.
That's fine.
Wario. I mean, I would love, because I remember you brought this up as like a concept in the Twitter chat. I would love like it being in the Super Mario Odyssey engine where it's all 3-dimensional, but Wario Land, like you also said, usually means lesser or like not world, which is like usually more open.
Yeah. If they just think about it, guys, every time land is used, it's always the lesser version. 3D Land, 3D World. Super Mario Land, Super Mario World. Disneyland, Disney World. Like, it's... So, Wario Land, I think is a bit lesser. Lesser doesn't mean worse, it just means, like, lower budget, maybe, like, on a more simple style. So, like, my vibes are, if it's a Wario Land kind of game, I would think it would be kind of more like an eShop title. But we'll see. Maybe it's real, maybe it's coming. Well, it's kind of hard to say, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, let me kind of just check the chat. You guys are talking about Wario World on the GameCube, which is the one that I had in mind when I first heard about Wario Land. But again, if Wario World were to come out like a 3D game running on like that Odyssey kind of engine, that would just throw me for a loop altogether. That would be completely left field for me, and I don't know. I think it would be different. They could make it really different, Like, because Wario's obviously a lot more aggressive and stronger than Mario, but probably also slower. And he's more of like an anti-hero, right? Like, he's not always
Right.
the bad guy. He's kind of more like just a greedy dude. But under the appropriate circumstances, he could find himself still saving the world, even though it's for his own greedy reasons, right? Because he just wants the treasure or something. But he might also simultaneously like beat a bad guy on the way to get the treasure so he can go partying and gambling later, right? Like it's kind of like that kind of storyline I could kind of see going.
Like
It'd be pretty
Bowser
funny.
and Bowser's Inside Story.
Yeah, there's definitely some similarities there. So that'd be really cool. But I guess we'll see how that goes. You know. Anyways, yeah, Black Star dude, I saw that you were talking about Warioland 4, but then you actually corrected yourself, and you meant Wario for the GameCube, which that's like the one that's in my mind. So okay, interesting. You should tell me more about it later. But and also, what is up, Vegeta? What is up, Arashan? I'm taking notes because I'm trying to keep track of the chat, and I want to do a better job of that. So whatever. Now let's move on to something slightly more interesting. The Donkey Kong tease. Now, so Nintendo of Italy, I believe on Snapchat, put up an image of Donkey Kong. And I'm going to put it up here on the stream so you guys can see it. This is the image that came out from, it literally says it right there, Nintendo Switch of Italia. And apparently it was taken down really quickly. And I don't remember exactly what the translation was, but it was something having to do with you can't have 2 without 3, which some people are trying to like pick apart and think that they're saying, oh, you know, if there's going to be 2, that means there's going to be 3. Does that mean Donkey Kong Country 3? And it could be a tease, it could be nothing. I'll leave it up there for a little while. But what do you guys think about this? Do you guys think it is like actually a tease at a new Donkey Kong game, or is it just kind of like Donkey Kong like advertisement in general? I mean, you know, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, the port came out not too long. Yeah, it came out last March. So, what do you guys think of this? Where do you think this means exactly, if anything at all?
I don't see what this would mean other than another Donkey Kong game. I mean, there's been 2 that Retro Studios have made. There's been 2, and you can't have 2 without 3 apparently. So that would mean there would be a 3rd one, and we don't know what Retro's working on. They're not working on Metroid Prime, obviously, and so maybe they are working on another one. Whether it be a 2D one or a 3D one, that's hard to say. But I mean, this kind of would make sense to be 2D again. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. But I don't know of any references that this would be making to anything, so that wouldn't make sense. I think this would. And didn't they take it down? I think you said they took it down from off their Twitter. So that's definitely
Snapchat. So I don't really use Snapchat.
I don't know how that works.
But Snapchat, normally things aren't really up for very long anyways, so I can't tell you exactly how this goes. But regardless, that was put out there. It could just be for fun, but there could be something there. I feel like a Donkey Kong game is probably in the works. It's a popular franchise nowadays. A Donkey Kong Country series is a series that sells. So, I think it's not crazy to think that a Donkey Kong Country game could be in the works. Right. It doesn't even have to be Donkey Kong Country. It could be another kind of Donkey Kong game. I personally would love it if they were to revisit the 3D Donkey Kong style. We were talking about Wario being in the Odyssey engine. What if they made a Donkey Kong game in the Odyssey engine? That would be pretty cool if they actually made like a 3D Donkey Kong game that was really good in terms of, like even way better than Donkey Kong 64, which I personally loved, but I've heard that from a critical reception perspective, it wasn't perfect. So,
yeah, but I loved it, so I want it back.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about this? Do you think that there's anything to this Donkey Kong tease, or do you think it's just advertising for the port?
Well, I think if it was actually, and like you guys said, Snapchat, it's hard to tell. You can actually set how long things can be up. I'm pretty sure. I'm not even that well versed in it, but if it actually was taken down, that usually more or less confirms it. They're like, oh, you weren't supposed to put that up there that quick. But if it actually was, I'm leaning more towards that this is a thing, and we also have to consider, which you guys probably already know, that David Wise actually said that he confirmed basically that he was working with Nintendo in Texas or something.
I don't remember if it was confirmed, but I do remember hearing
David Wise said
relatively reliable sources that he was working in Texas on something.
David,
I'm pretty sure he said it like on his Twitter or something.
Oh, if you said that, then
I think that's as reliable as you can get. But and isn't Retro Studios based in Texas? Or,
yes,
they are. They're actually pretty close to me.
Yeah.
So
we're still planning on a mission where I'm going to direct Brandon into Retro Studios to find out what's going on there. I'm training him to be a Nintendo ninja. Yeah, well, an anti-Nintendo ninja, because the Nintendo ninjas are going to be following him throughout the entire time. So I'm training him in the art of, I guess, anti-Nintendo battle measures. Yeah, just wait for that. It's coming. Yeah.
This doesn't look like Tropical Freeze to me. Like, from the picture, like, if they're doing Tropical Freeze, don't you think it'd be a little more freeze? There's, like, no freeze.
So, I just want to say this. Do you guys remember, like, not too long, it was before Metroid Prime 4 was revealed, but Retro Studios is putting out various tweets with primed rib or steak. Like, multiple times they put out primed something, and they were tweeting it out, and it really made people, go crazy, think, oh, Retro Studios is working on Metroid Prime 4, OMG! And it has since been confirmed that Retro Studios is not working on Metroid Prime 4. However, it also has been confirmed that Metroid Prime 4 is in development. So, that tweet, while a tease, it kind of said something that was happening, but not quite, right? So, like, while we may be getting this it was a half-truth, exactly. So, maybe this could be one of those other situations here. So, this Donkey Kong tease, right? Maybe there is something to it, but it probably isn't what we're thinking, Whatever that means exactly, because I feel like they wouldn't straight up, be like, oh, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is coming, 3. Like, it's just highly unlikely that a Nintendo media site would leak something like that, right? But it could be a tease of something, just not something we're expecting. Whatever that is, we'll find out in the future, or maybe we never will. That's the thing with these things. Sometimes teases mean nothing. It could just be a joke, like No Filter was saying. That is a possibility.
Well, I don't think I got to finish what I was saying, but
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Since he's working, it's confirmed that he's working in Texas and stuff, and Retro is based in Texas. And I think that if it is true that they hurried up and tried to take it down, that it could mean, I don't know, something.
There is a chance that there could be a Donkey Kong game in the works, especially when you take into consideration, for sure. It doesn't have to be a Donkey Kong game, but there's a decent chance. There's a chance, and that'd be really cool. I personally would be a little disappointed if it was a Donkey Kong Country 3, and only if that's the only game that Retro Studios is working on. If it's Donkey Kong Country 3 and there's another game that Retro Studios is working on, right, or someone else is making Donkey Kong Country 3, then I'm okay with it. Like, his Donkey Kong Country 3, well, the Returns 3, or whatever you want to call it, like, that would be really cool. It's an amazing platforming game. I wouldn't be disappointed by it. I just want Retro to do something else, so, which kind of brings me into the next topic, which we're going to get into in a moment, but do you guys have any closing thoughts on this Donkey Kong tease before we get to the chat, and then jump into what Retro Studios is potentially working on?
I guess just in closing, I wouldn't be too upset. I think the reason people were upset that Retro Studios could be working on Donkey Kong is because they wanted them to work on Prime 4. The Prime 4 is already being made, so personally, I'd be happy if they made another Donkey Kong game. Tropical Freeze is one of my favorite 2D platforms of all time, so if they went with another 2D platformer, that'd be great. But I also really want a Donkey Kong 3D game, so if they do either of those, I'd be pretty happy.
What do you think, Will?
Oh, I don't have any closing thoughts.
Okay, good. All right, so as let me see what people are saying in the chat. So like, there's a bit of discussion about Funky Kong and Cranky Kong. Saris is saying, what if it's a Funky Kong game? The Vegeta-san saying, what if it's a Cranky Kong game? I think that would be pretty funny. Funky Kong would probably be really easy. Cranky Kong would probably be really hard because he's struggling to do everything. But maybe if there was a Cranky Kong game, we could like get like actual like backstory, right? Like how he transitioned from that big, strong Donkey Kong from the original Donkey Kong game, which featured Mario or Jumpman as protagonist, till his old self with the cane.
So small.
Wait, not a playable character, but isn't he like a sidekick in Tropical Freeze?
Yes.
So he seemed pretty alright to me. He seemed pretty peppy to me.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, surprise. He's like Master Roshi, but monkey. You know, like he is pretty peppy. But it would be cool to have a Cranky Kong game just to kind of see more story for him, you know. But I think it's more likely that it would be Donkey Kong's the main character, and then Cranky Kong, Diddy, Trixie, and Funky, I guess, could be in the game to some capacity again. So yeah, we'll see. I think it's likely that we'll get another country game at some point. I don't know when, but I think it's likely.
Lanky Kong to come back.
Yeah.
Lanky Kong was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
No Filter saying that Retro was hiring a bunch of people from other studios, including some from Naughty Dog. I doubt they would bring them only to do a sequel to Donkey Kong. I agree with you. I agree with you. They've been that happened.
Uncharted is coming to the Switch.
Yeah, they've made a lot of additions over the years, and the people that they're taking it from that they've gotten are people that are capable of doing some pretty big epic stuff. So it just seems a little weird to me that if Donkey Kong Country is another one is on the way, that if that's from Retro Studios, it just seems weird to me that it's been like 4 years that's the only thing they've been working on. So
I think a big enough studio to make 2 games at once now? Is that what Nintendo
they could be working on 2 games, right? Or they could just have partial involvement with this Donkey Kong Country game. Assuming that's what is if that's happening, then they could also be working on something else. I feel like there's a really good chance that they're working on something else. But what is that something else? That is the question. You can go, Will.
To No Filter's point, people were quitting Naughty Dog anyways. So it isn't really a surprise that in the midst of that, Retro Studios did grab some of them. So I don't really think, hey, Naughty Dog employees are working for them now is really a big point to that. And I would agree if David Wise wasn't like working with them, but even then,
very true. The whole David Wise thing does throw it off, but then again, there could be 2 games, so.
What if it's just a 3D Donkey Kong game, but it's like a really like visceral, like very like behind the shoulder, like very fast kind of like Donkey Kong game, like he's like imagine like an over the shoulder Donkey Kong game where he's just running up to baddies and just pummeling them in a very like visceral
Donkey Kong game.
More like a third person like God of War, but really like close-up style Donkey Kong game where he's just beating the heck out of everyone, like kind of like Jungle Beat, a little bit during the fighting sections maybe, except throughout most of the world. Just a random idea. Like the newest God of War perspective, kind of like that, but Donkey Kong, and no blood, but still like very. In your face and realistic. You guys clearly aren't behind this idea. This is just one of my.
I mean, it'd be cool if it's just like real, like kind of. I feel like it'd be kind of like just mindless, like beating up kind of people, kind of thing.
You could add depth. You could make it.
Oh, 3D Donkey Kong should be a cool.
I think it should definitely have emphasis on platforming. I'm just kind of joking around. Yeah. Like, it should definitely be an emphasis on platforming. I would love them to, really take advantage of, like, jumping through vines. And, like, what if they were to create, like, a jungle, like an actual jungle where you're platforming through trees and branches and, like, really soaring around, kind of like a Tarzan sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, imagine that. Like, imagine, how, like, they have, like, Spider-Man games where like it's like an open world where he's shooting webs to like fly around a city. What if they made that, but like it's Donkey Kong in the jungle, so obviously it's a lot tighter, right? Everything's a lot closer, but it's a very aerial sort of platforming kind of game. It's unique because it's about like traversing through trees and in a jungle. Like that would be different. I can't think of a game that has had like a gorilla running through like a jungle in 3D, like in the air.
Mm-hmm. I guess shameless plug here real quick. I actually have a video all about that, so check it out after this podcast. Shameless plug ended. Hashtag shameless plug.
Shameless.
I am shameless.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think Donkey Kong's a possibility. I've brought up the crazy theory before that what if Retro Studios is actually working on a new Earthbound game? Because Retro Studios had brought back the Metroid series, they brought back the Donkey Kong series. What if they bring back another old Nintendo series? And like we don't know what's going on with that Mother 3 localization. What if, they're working on a new Mother or Earthbound game, which is highly like if this happens, it would be like crazier than Half-Life 3 being confirmed. Like it'd be crazier than that because one, the writer for the Mother series does not want to continue the story. Okay, so that's already kind of a limitation right there. And second, like it's
Mother
never
3 is already the Half-Life 3, that's right, Half-Life 3. I don't remember.
Well, the fact that I mean like expanding a story or something like that, or maybe like it'd be a crazy idea, but just an idea I've had that it would kind of make sense to me because if you think about it, a franchise that could work that Retro Studios could bring back. I think the Earthbound series would work from a business perspective and from a gameplay perspective, but are the resources in place to do that? Probably not.
Right. It'd be interesting though, that's for sure.
Yeah, so but let's just move on to this one and get into the slightly more juicier stuff because we don't really have much more to go on with this retro. It's just all speculation. So let me just say hello to people. I think I saw Jeremy in the chat. How you doing, man? Yeah. I haven't seen Gohan in a while. Not sure what he's up to.
Yeah, where's
but
Gohan? Oh man.
Yeah, I think he told me he was taking a break from gaming for a little while. So, but
That's blasphemy.
Yeah. So, wait. What am I saying about F-Zero here? Oh, Snowman's saying he would like to see retro work on F-Zero. My man. Yeah, that's right. F-Zero. That would be the game, bro. That would be the game. Like that would destroy worlds. That would. It would be amazing. It would just be so incredible. F-Zero GX is like my favorite racing game, and F-Zero X is right up there. Actually, I liked F-Zero on the Super Nintendo as well. Like I love F-Zero, man. It's just like people's like, oh, you could just play like Wipeout or Redout or like Fast RMX. I'm like, no, none of those games hold the candle to F-Zero. It's different. It's not, yes, technically they're all futuristic racers, but F-Zero is different. It's more intense. It's more visceral. It's like there's destruction and snaking and drifting, and like the speeds are faster than pretty much any other racing game out there for the most part. Like it's on another level in my opinion, man. And the music is also way better. Like it has like this really cool, like iconic, like metal style kind of music that and all other futuristic races just use like dubstep and stuff, which is done. That's been done before, time and time again. So I would love that, man. Love it.
Loving it.
Hey, Will, you still there?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's waiting for us to get a topic he actually cares about.
He does not care about F-Zero. You not care about F-Zero?
Oh no, I think F-Zero is cool.
You think it's cool? What is wrong with you? That is an understatement. How dare you?
Understatement of the century.
Jeez. What an insult. How dare you say F-Zero is just cool, sinner.
Back when like Nintendo was doing the whole anime movement thing, I thought F-Zero was like the best of it.
Yeah, do you know remember that that little like anime scene? That's the only thing I've seen of this Star Fox anime, not Star Fox, which also be a great idea. But and like that F-Zero like animated scene where he's going up against Black Bull Life, I think, and he has like this Falcon Punch that's like on a world destroying like Z sort of Marvel Universal level.
That ended the whole series. He ended the whole series with like a Falcon Punch.
The Falcon Punch of series ending proportions. Yeah. Yep. I mean, it would be like really cool. Like F-Zero, like if you play F-Zero GX, like there's actually a lot of thought put into the characters, and they're all like really, really quirky. Like it is a racing game, but the world actually has a lot of details. So like I would love it if they were to bring back another F-Zero and really like dive deep into like a potential story, you know, like, and bring back Captain Falcon, really feature him, and like, you know, yeah, like show him off. Like it would be really cool, like if it was kind of like sort of like a mini animated series within, you know, like a whole new like F-Zero game made by Retro. I think they could do it. I mean, they got experience with working with the Mario Kart team, making Mario Kart 7, so I think they could pull it off. They can make a really, really good racing game.
Yeah.
And online too. Imagine 30 people online. That would be sick. That might be the thing. There might be pressure on them to make it online. Like if an F-Zero game comes, it has to be online. If it's not online, it's a problem. And 4-player online, it's not going to cut it. Like I think you have to go for 30, and maybe that's kind of like a technical limitation that they haven't really thought that they can get past. So I don't know. Maybe this is the time. Maybe this is a generation we can see that. It'd be really. I obviously am just a big fanboy for F-Zero. Like I can't think logically when it comes to F-Zero. Like it's on another level.
Right.
So let's move on to the next topic. Metroid. All right, Metroid Prime 4. There has been some information that has come out or been discovered from the LinkedIn profiles indicating more indications, because it's been rumored before, talked about before, that Metroid Prime 4 is being developed with the Unreal Engine 4. So, Brandon, I know you have quite a bit of graphical knowledge, right? If Metroid Prime 4 is being developed with the Unreal Engine, what do you think that means for the series?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It had been so much rumored, like so heavily rumored, that I actually thought it was confirmed back at E3, but apparently it hasn't been. But to see it crop up again, I definitely think there's some likelihood to it. I mean, the Switch, it works so well with the Switch. Maybe it can come out in 2018 if it's on Unreal Engine 4, since it's so easy to develop for. But of course, we don't know how long it's been developed before. But I definitely think this could be a really good jump graphically for the series. I mean, Unreal Engine 4 just has so many good lighting and special effects, which would look amazing anytime, you know, Samus shot some lasers with her arm cannon and stuff like that. You know, I just feel like the effects in Unreal Engine 4 could suit this game so well. And there's just so many different, you know, graphical things that they could do with this game. I think it's just going to be a huge leap from what we've seen before. And, you know, we might see some particle effects, you know, some amazing lighting effects, different things like the explosions would look great, different things like that. So I definitely think, you know, with Unreal Engine 4, we could see some really, really fantastic visuals here, while also being able to, you know, have a smooth development cycle, just because that engine is so good and so well optimized for the Switch. Maybe this will be the time where we see, you know, even more power drawn out of the Switch, you know, use even more of it to its fuller potential than we've seen before.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because, as you're saying, they could really get a lot out, and putting Metroid on the Unreal Engine is one way to help modernize the series without investing a whole bunch of resources and time and developing a whole new like Metroid Prime engine, because that would take a lot of time. And the fact it's not a fact because it's not confirmed yet, but it's widely believed at this point that Metroid Prime is being developed with the Unreal Engine. And if that's the case, then that could mean that the game could be coming out sooner than later. Based on the LinkedIn profiles, it seems to indicate that Metroid Prime 4 started development sometime in early 2016, like before E3. Now, I've made the prediction that I think Metroid Prime 4 could actually maybe come out this holiday season. A lot of people disagree with me, I understand that. And if it actually did start development in early 2016, that would be at a 2.5 year sort of window. That is a small window. That is a short window. So I will say that does kind of dampen my confidence in this game coming out this year. But keep in mind that developing an engine, a game engine, is what is usually the biggest task in creating a game. So if they're using Unreal Engine 4, that kind of expedites the process a lot, and they basically like jumpstart the development process like at least a year. So that those 2.5 years could just be focused on creating a lot of content on Unreal Engine 4. So I don't think it's impossible that we could be seeing Metroid at the end of 2018 or maybe early 2019. We basically, because if it's on Unreal Engine 4, even if it doesn't come out this year, it does mean that it will be coming out sooner than later because it's a lot less time and resources spent on creating a whole new engine. And I think that alone tells me that we could be seeing this game in at least some playable form at E3, I think there's a pretty good chance of that.
Maybe.
Yeah. What do you think, Will?
Let's see. The actual like credibility of it, I think it's pretty good. Because LinkedIn is the same source, Dr. A, is the whole thing. It's the same place we got the fact, or not fact, I shouldn't say that, where we got the idea that Bandai Namco is developing Metroid Prime 4. And as far as like how the engine will affect how it looks, I think we already speculated this on one podcast, but I do think without a doubt that this game is gonna just look really good, because when just Japanese developers in general get their hands on like Unreal Engine 4, they tend to bring the best out of it. Octopath, I think, is one of the best looking games this year. Runs on Unreal Engine 4. Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So
Dragon Ball Fighters. Yeah. Dragon Ball Fighters runs on Unreal Engine 4. And I think Metroid will personally look more like is like a Kingdom Hearts 3 or Final Fantasy 7 remake. I think Nintendo easily could get the same quality out of that. Like, I think this game will look really good.
Yeah.
I still think it's coming in 2019, but I do think that this can only be helpful for, like, in terms of, like you guys said, the development cycle of the game, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. And I think we could see the best atmosphere that Metroid's ever seen. I mean, with the different lightings, you can just make it so much more atmospheric, just have it darker and different things like that. Like things that weren't possible in the GameCube and Wii era with lighting, and just, how far you can see smoke effects, different things like that. You're in your dark, maybe they'll have some parts where you're in a dark room and you shoot and the light from your beam actually lights up the room. Different things like that, just making it more atmospheric,
so cool.
Maybe even more scary. I think, Andres, you brought this up before, that maybe there be a slight more horror theme to this. I think that would be much more possible with the new, lighting engine that Unreal Engine 4 has.
Yes. Well, we brought up some games that were made on Unreal Engine 4. Most of those games were made by Bandai Namco. And that's another part of the rumors and information that's been out there, that Bandai Namco is developing this game, which kind of goes more to my point that if you have a huge studio working with Nintendo, not just Bandai Namco, but the both of them, working with Unreal Engine 4 could really expedite the process, give them a lot of time to focus on maybe creating a lot more atmosphere, creating a lot more content, and making this a really big, awesome game. There's a lot of potential here, and I think some people have heard about Unreal Engine 4 and may have been like, oh, this doesn't excite me. I want a whole new Nintendo engine. But keep in mind, Unreal Engine 4 is very flexible, and we've seen some of the best looking games ever made used with Unreal Engine 4. So, there's all sorts of kinds of games made within Unreal Engine 4. Just because it's the same engine doesn't mean they look anything alike, doesn't mean it plays anything alike. It's just basically a way to put the game together. And it'll make things a lot easier and quicker.
It's super plug and play, like super plug and play. So
Mhm.
like you just make the assets, you slap it on into Unreal Engine 4, and you just start clicking
Right,
away
like
to play
I
stuff.
feel
It's
like
like super
I
easy.
feel like the only time you really don't want to use something like Unreal Engine 4 is if you have like this Vision 4 game that is going to be using like really advanced physics and taking it to another level,
Mhm.
like Breath of the Wild, right? Like Breath of the Wild, Unreal Engine 4 wouldn't have worked because of all the intense physics engines, right? Like they had to develop a whole
Right.
new like crazy physics engine with Breath of the Wild. But with Metroid Prime, I don't know how many sorts of physics they would need to implement to do, for their design choices there. So I don't think it's going to limit the development for the game at all. It's just going to speed up the development process, and hopefully it'll allow us to get a really high quality, atmospheric, beautiful looking Metroid game. I would
Yeah.
love. I mean, I love Metroid. Like, yeah. So we'll see it. I think we're going to see it at E3. Whether it comes out this year or not, I think it's a good chance. But obviously it's up for debate. Most people think it's 2019, and that's a relatively safe bet. And I saw in the chat actually. Who was it? I think it was actually Tony the Expert. How you doing, man? But he thinks that Pokemon has a higher chance than Metroid for 2018. I agree with you, actually. Even though I'm predicting Metroid for 2018, I still think Pokemon has a higher chance. Like, I think Pokemon...
For sure.
It's not confirmed either for 2018, but if I had to pick one, it would definitely pick Pokemon. Like, I wouldn't really think twice about it.
Almost confirmed.
Yeah.
It's confirmed that they want it to be confirmed.
They've been pretty sloppy about it. It was like, okay, guys, listen, we want this thing out in 2018.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I do want to talk about something I kind of, talked about earlier with these guys, but not publicly. So, like, let's just, talk about it for a moment. If this is all true, let's assume that Bandai Namco is working with Nintendo on Metroid Prime 4 and they are using the Unreal Engine, right? Like, I've talked about it maybe coming out in 2018, and again, I understand that most people don't think that's likely, and I see your point, it makes sense, because it's a huge game. It's a huge game, and that needs time to be made. But I think that Nintendo is working with Bandai, that they're using the Unreal Engine, to facilitate, like, a quick development process. Not a sloppy development process, but just a timely one. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but throughout the Switch's life cycle, we've gotten a lot of games and they've come out on time. We haven't gotten any delayed games from Nintendo yet. Like, no one thought Xenoblade Chronicles 2 would come out in December, but it did.
Especially not December 1st. I thought it'd be like December 31st at like
right,
midnight,
Right. Yeah, and the thing is that, like, it's just Nintendo has been working with a lot of other companies. We were hearing about more and more Nintendo games running on with the Unreal Engine. Look at Yoshi, for example, right? And I mean, Octopath Traveler is also using the Unreal Engine. It's being co-published by Nintendo. Like, so Nintendo, like, Nintendo's not. It's Square Enix that's developing Octopath Traveler, but Nintendo does have influence on that as well. So, like, they're really working a lot more closely with a lot more companies, using other engines out there to expedite the development process for a lot of their games. They're really being more strategic now about what they're doing with all their franchises to get a more consistent schedule. So when I see this information about Bandai Namco and Unreal Engine 4 for Metroid, I'm just like, yep, that makes sense. That's what Nintendo has been doing. They're just being more strategic about how they're going about the development process so they can get more games out in a timely fashion. And that's why I think that there's actually a fair chance that Metroid could be coming out this year. But of course, there could be other great games coming out this year instead of Metroid, like Pokemon, like Smash, like Fire Emblem, like Yoshi. Maybe something else we haven't heard about, maybe Animal Crossing. So we'll see, obviously. But, I think, regardless, that this is...
That seems a little skewed. Like...
what is skewed?
Just, like, I guess, like, the way you were describing it, you described it, you described it very accurately. You said that I 100% think it does apply to Metroid, but it also applies to the other games too. But the way you were describing it, it was like it gave Metroid an edge over the other games. That's all I'm saying. I don't necessarily disagree with you.
I didn't say that though.
No, I'm like the way you said, like you like that.
Okay,
that,
well let me clarify. What I'm trying to say is that, like, I just think in general Nintendo has been planning out their release schedules. Like, they know what they want to come out with, right? Which is why they're being really strategic about who they're partnering with, what engines they're using, so they can get more games out at a more consistent schedule. Does that mean Metroid this year? No, I'm not saying that, but I think there will be some really good game for most of the major months towards the holiday season. That's what I'm trying to say. Which could be Metroid, but it also, like I said, could be Pokemon, could be Smash, could be Fire Emblem, could be Yoshi, could be something else that hasn't been announced yet. That's what I'm saying. You know, I personally think there's a higher chance of Metroid than, say, for example, Luigi's Mansion, right? But, you know, we'll see. I do think there's going to be something that we don't know about that is going to be confirmed for this year. And we'll probably find out at E3.
Just watch Luigi's Mansion 3 come out and Metroid Prime 4 gets pushed to 2019.
Just
watch. It's gonna happen.
Yo, hey, I'd be happy anyways, because, like, as long as there's games to play, that's fine by me.
Right.
If anything, I think it's going to be like Animal Crossing. Like, that just, it's just waiting to peek its head out the window and be like, hey, I'm here, coming this year too. It's like, yep. It's like, it just makes so much sense the way they've been gearing up for it.
So does.
Yeah.
I agree, 100%. But even if Metroid Prime 4 doesn't come out, I think at the very least something Metroid will come out, like a Prime Trilogy, HD collection or something like that. I think something Metroid will come out this year. Whether or not it's Prime 4, that's hard to say. I personally am not. I don't think it can't come out, but I'm more inclined to say that it probably won't come out this year.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think something Metroid would probably come out, even if not Prime 4, something to hype up Prime 4, like a HD collection.
Personally, you go first, Will.
I think we're probably, because there was a rumor earlier this year. It has nothing to do with this. I don't even know why I brought it up, but I think we're going to get like a 2D Metroid or something. I don't know.
I do remember that. I mean, another 2D Metroid back-to-back years. Metroid anything I'm happy with, so, we'll see what happens. But I want to get to the chat, because I think we're sort of winding down with this topic, and I want to get to the whole Pokemon League, because I think that's like the major topic for today. But no filter Nintendo Passcast was saying no chance for this year. I'm pretty sure he means in reference to Metroid for this year. Let me start over. No chance for this year if less than a year ago they hodgepodged together a crappy logo, used old Metroid Prime logo in Photoshop, and shifted it. See, here's the thing, though. Based off what I was talking about earlier, based off of LinkedIn profiles, they actually started development in early 2016. So, and if they're using the Unreal Engine 4, they're already putting assets and creating the game world, and they probably may have already had some sort of playable form of Metroid by 2017. Obviously not public. So, logo or not, no filter, I'm inclined to think that regardless of when the game is coming out, if they started development early 2016 with the engine already in place, like they, definitely, they have, there's something going on there. They didn't start in 2017. That doesn't seem likely at this point. Yeah.
Also, I don't know about like no chance. Like, I do think that there's a big chance that Metroid could come out this year. So I don't know about no chance, but I do think I'm more inclined, like kind of like Brandon, I'm more inclined to think 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, oh, sorry.
Chance. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, Pokemon, like the developers have said multiple times, Nintendo in their earnings report said, 2018 or later, and that didn't even have a logo at all. Plus, the Prime logos aren't, like the most unique from each other logos ever. They're typically pretty similar to the older logos, just with some new flair. So that very well could be the Prime 4 logo without the title underneath it. So
I think the thing is that when they show the logo, people were under the impression that they were like a few weeks before E3 were like, oh, let's tell everyone we're making Metroid Prime because we just decided we're making it now. No, the game was already in development for a bit. Like I said, the LinkedIn profiles are suggesting early 2016, right? And obviously Metroid Prime 4 was announced at E3 2017. So I don't think, basing the logo, the teaser, it gives us any idea of how far they are in development. Like,
look
they
at
weren't
the
going to show
Smash Bros logo. It totally looks like a teaser logo. It's like the most
but I mean, at least the Smash Bros trailer has stuff going on. Like, that is epic. Like there's stuff going on there for sure. There's assets.
But the logo doesn't really mean.
Oh, the logo itself
is like the most basic.
Right, like someone could put that together in a few hours, right? The logo itself, the actual,
in a few minutes.
The trailer itself is epic. Like, that's a very well put together trailer.
I'm just saying the logo itself is like, I don't think that better not be the official logo. It's lame. It's so lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Saga64 is joking about them releasing Metroid Blast for this year to tide us
Metroid
over.
Ball Blast.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's funny. Well, maybe it won't get as much backlash since we know now that they're working on an entirely new Metroid.
Yeah. So Snowman brought a good point. He thinks we can all agree on that it will be no later than 2019, which means before 2020, I think a lot of the Metroid will be released. I think most of us agree with that for sure. So, you know, but let's move on. You know, I think most of us are excited for Metroid. We don't have to debate about when it's coming out. We'll find out soon enough, but I think development's probably going along smoothly because of the relationship with Bandai Namco and Unreal.
That's it for other games too, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, let's talk about that Pokemon allegedly. I'm going to put the image up right now, okay? So, literally a day before April Fool's, this image was making the rounds on the internet. And this is the image right here. I'll scale it up. I'll probably I'll move the background. Silly me. Okay. I'll just scale this up for a little bit, and I'll show our faces in a moment, but just so you guys can get a big fat look at that image. You know, like, this image was kind of making the rounds on the internet, and, you know, there were some Pokemon leakers, like, on Twitter saying, oh, yeah, we think this is real. You know, if this isn't real, we will take down all of our videos about leaks and rumors. So there are some Pokemon leakers. You can't even see me make air quotes because I full screen the image. I'll minimize it. Not minimize it, but just have it, like there. You know, people were you know, claiming that this is legit, right? I don't know if it's legit. Like, most of the people I pay attention to are pretty skeptical about this, but there are some leakers out there, you know, kind of like the Emily Roger types, but for Pokemon only, which they think that this is probably legit. I don't think it's legit personally. Honestly, the first thing I see when I see this, I think, oh, looks like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire or something like that, like or, you know, Sun and Moon. Like, it just, and it's blurry, right? Like, you can't even see all the details. Like, I can't see Lapras's face. Like, yes, it's like a Pokemon in widescreen. They kind of look like they threw in some Pokemon models on there, but you can't even make them out that well. It's not even a high resolution image, you know. So, and easily, in my opinion, they can take you know, the Pokemon game, put it on a you know, mod it on their computer using like Citra or something, and then just add it, Photoshop it a little bit, and make something that looks like this. I don't know how realistic this is personally, but Brandon, Will, what do you guys think about this image? Just, you know, off the top of your head.
Yeah, I was listening to some people talk about this because I don't know much about Pokemon. I've never played any of the games, so I was just like, maybe this is real. I don't think so, because I mean, I would be super disappointed if that's how the new Pokemon game looked. But I was like, maybe so. I mean, Pokemon isn't known for making the hugest graphical leaps as soon as they get onto a new console. But I was listening to somebody talk about it, and they said specifically that they had just played through this very segment of Sun and Moon, and they can tell you exactly where in the route they were, what they were doing in the specific picture. They can tell from the picture where it is in Sun and Moon. So apparently all it is it thrown into a 3DS emulator. I think you mentioned Citrus. I think that's a 3DS emulator, correct?
They get SITRA, yeah, Citra or Kitra. Pretty sure
it's thrown into that, and then they just removed the seat that they ride on and photoshopped the Pokemon to the head. And that, honestly, if you look back at the image, knowing that information, you can kind of see a discolored area, or a slightly discolored area where the seat would have been, and the Pokemon almost looks like it would have, like, not quite resting on the head right. So, like, I can kind of see that, actually. But according to them, they actually could, like, they were just playing through this segment that apparently this is from in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So I'm inclined to believe that this is not true. In fact, I am 99% sure that this is false.
It also came a day before April Fool's. So
right.
Just putting that out there, a day before April Fool's. The timing is a little uncanny. What do you think, Will?
Kind of like what I kind of agree with everything Brandon said. It's like it doesn't look real. It actually, I'm gonna straight up like just be real. It looks ugly. Like, it just looks ugly. It looks like a 3DS game, and that's probably what it is. And I agree with the whole. They probably threw it in an emulator, rewrote the seed, etc. Because I think that Pokemon, these quote unquote leakers or whatever of Pokemon, I think that they're really devoted. Like I think they're second only to the Smash leakers
Oh
or
gosh,
whatever.
this Smash.
Right. Did you guys hear about Marcus Sellers? So Marcus Sellers is this guy that's been leaking a lot of information, right? And he got so big that he was even like mentioned on Game Explain discussions multiple times, right? And he was literally like completely 100% exposed like 2 or 3 days ago. Some dude just messaged him on Twitter and started providing him with Nintendo information. Random guy, right? He took screenshots of all the chats, and this Marcus Sellers just started reporting everything this guy was saying, like saying, "Oh yeah, I have some secret special information out there." Like, and this guy took screenshots of every conversation and then posted it to the public to see that he was literally just taking information from some random dude that messaged him and coining it as legit leaker information. Which goes to show that this guy was just doing it to get publicity. So there are some leakers out there that are just doing this for publicity because you can get, you know, media connections, you can get attention, you can get free games. There are benefits to, you know, getting publicity from fake leaks and if people believe you're legit. So, you know, that's kind of like another reason to take all of this with a grain of salt until something's confirmed otherwise. But here's the thing, guys. There are some people out there who are known within the Pokemon world to provide the internet with information about Pokemon games, and they've gotten some things right in the past, and a couple of these people are saying that they think that this is legit, that's lining up with a lot of things they've heard. Does that make you guys even the least bit concerned that there are some people that at least have some credibility that think this is real?
No.
No. There's this no.
I highly doubt they've been shown. Like they can hear things and they all imagine it in their own way, but this like they haven't been shown anything. Like they haven't gone on record to say, "Hey, we've been shown stuff. Hey, this is like Pokemon is going to be revealed gameplay wise soon." So, nah, I doubt it.
Yeah,
they can think whatever they want.
It's very blurry. That's the thing. That's the thing. For an HD Pokemon game, it's pretty hard to see what's going on. You know, like I feel like I can almost see more of what's going on for a clean screenshot from a 240p 3DS game. You know. And, like, it's really hard to make out what's going on here. And I feel like it's almost kind of blurry because it's fake. Like, to me, it's a red flag that it's hard to see what's going on.
The low resolution of the textures.
Right. Honestly. And it doesn't seem like a thing where someone took a picture of it with their camera and it's ugly that way. No, it seems like a straight up screenshot. And this is ugly.
There's no, like, glare or anything.
Right.
Yeah. No, this is, like, probably taken as a snapshot from an emulator, you know. And there are emulators out there that do make Pokemon look pretty good, but still, like, the fact that it just isn't clear, just, you know, it doesn't. And is this even 16
was sent by like Nintendo, like right as like a press thing? Oh, that's what they're claiming, I believe.
I feel like if that was the case, we would have heard something from Eurogamer or IGN by this point, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Eurogamer would have been like, "Oh, yep, guys, this is real. Come, give us those clicks." Like, and they haven't, you know? Like, right? Like, when the whole Metroid Prime thing came out about Bandai Namco, like, they were discovered their LinkedIn profiles, Eurogamer came out pretty swiftly afterwards and confirmed it, you know?
They jumped right on it.
Right, but they haven't jumped on this. And, you know, like, if anything, right? Like, if Eurogamer's not reporting on it, at least I think then, you know, this isn't... Like, Eurogamer's not even the be-all, end-all. You know what I mean? Like, Eurogamer doesn't get everything right. But when Eurogamer reports something, at that point it enters, like, this is probably true. Like, you know, like the 60 to 80% probably true range. This, I don't think it even... It's not even there.
Eurogamer tries to be as credible as they can. They don't just go, "Oh, this is going... This news story is going around."
When they report on something, they have sources, right? But they like reporting on things that are... not necessarily completed yet, and because they're reporting about things that aren't completed yet, a lot of times the information they provide isn't really, you know, it make any sense. Like when they report about Pokemon Stars, that obviously Pokemon Stars doesn't exist, but it supposedly is because they're reporting about this Pokemon Stars project that was really just kind of like a testing grounds for Switch and also to get things ready for, you know, Ultra Sun and Moon. Like, so yeah, I mean, they're not 100% reliable because they report about stuff that's in development, right? Which there's a lot of room for error there. But still, if, like I said, if they're not even reporting about this, I don't think this is legit. I don't.
Also,
yeah.
Also, I think whoever this is, or I don't know if this was intentional, I don't know, but whoever this is seems to be taking advantage of. It's almost like they're taking advantage of how entitled, and I'm just gonna say Nintendo fans can be. Like a lot of Nintendo fans are like they expect a Pokemon Direct, like give me a direct or you suck, Nintendo. Like I think that they're to an extent taking advantage of that. Like Brandon has like said multiple times, like this is around the time that they show it. And I think like some Nintendo fans take that and they run with it. So.
Yeah, I do get the vibes that some people are taking advantage of the publicity here. You know, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like even
and bad publicity spreads better sometimes than good publicity. So maybe them saying it like it looks just like the 3DS one is to get them people to get upset and start sharing it around everywhere.
For example, one of the leakers that is supposedly saying that this is legit just so happens to have a YouTube channel, right? And a YouTube channel isn't very big yet, but they probably want that publicity. So there is motive to. I'm not saying that they are lying or anything like that, but they're more inclined to say, hey, I think there's something to this. You know what I mean? To kind of attract attention their way. So I think it does skew some of these leakers to maybe provide us with not the most reliable information.
Honestly, the smaller the fan group or size of the channel or the Twitter or whatever of the leaker, honestly, I trust them less because they have less to lose.
Also, like Andres, you said that it was right before April Fools, so obviously I think, and like we're getting a lot closer to E3, so
absolutely,
yeah, we're just barely above 2 months.
This is probably not the last leaked Pokemon image. Like right. there may be more. I mean, typically for previous generations, there's multiple leaked starter images. So this, I don't know, but actually, just for the record, the Sun and Moon starters that was actually leaked. So for Generation 7, those starters were actually leaked before they came out. There was an image that came out from them. People were like, "Oh, this probably isn't real." But when the games actually, were released, it turned out that one of those leaks was real. So leaks also do happen, guys. So let's not pretend that they never happen. But for every leak that is true, there's at least several, or many leaks that are false. And I'm just gonna kind of go through the chat now because I think you guys are making some really good points. Vegeta-san saying that it's the Animal Crossing villager on the Lapras. I don't know if that's true, but it's so blurry that it might be, right? Tony J Expert saying if this is true, Pokemon Switch would get a lot of backlash. I think that's actually a really good point because like this doesn't look impressive at all. Like if this is Pokemon Switch, I'm already disappointed. Yeah. Like there's a lot of eyes on Pokemon now that are going out to Switch as a first home console Pokemon game. If it looks basically like the 3DS game, but like a higher resolution in like a wide screen like that, people will be pretty disappointed by that. I think, I know
there's not even any shadows. Literally, the picture, if you look, there's no shadows on anything.
That's another interesting point. There are no shadows. That is a great point, actually. Yeah. No Filter saying, yeah, I think he was agreeing with me from earlier that the Marcus Sellers guy is kind of a joke. Yeah, it seems so. Yeah, Savage64 is saying that he'd be really disappointed if this was fake. I mean, if this is real, he'd be really disappointed if this is real. Historic Jewel just came in. What's up, man? He's saying, well, I saw his comment now, but he's saying, you should trust leaks about as much as you trust an EA-developed game to not have some form of loot box. I would say that's pretty fair. Yeah, most leaks are gonna not be good, and most EA games are gonna have a loot box.
Yeah. Tony says the Lapras back textures look fishy. That's probably because they photoshopped out that seat that you usually ride on. That's probably why they look fishy.
Yeah. But Tony Expert also said if this leak was real, he's pretty sure Nintendo would have done something. That's another thing, right? Like if this is a legit image, like legit, like most of the time, like something would have been done, and nothing has been done. That's another point to consider. He's also actually saying that Poke Serena, actually, that's one of the people that's backing this image. He doesn't think that she's in it for the publicity. She has a club that got acknowledged by Masuda. Maybe. I'm not saying she's a bad person or anything, but she could just be wrong. Like, it could be her opinion, and she could just be wrong. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so I guess, you know, I think we all kind of agree here that this doesn't seem like likely to be real. I think that seems to be consensus among everyone. So let's.
I feel like if it was just an upscaled 3DS game, I feel like they would have showed it at E3 with the announcement. You know?
Yeah.
There's a final point there.
Yeah. So let's move on from this Pokemon League. We all agree. Is there anything else you want to add to this whole Pokemon League thing?
No, I think it's pretty obvious it's fake, honestly. So.
Yeah. All right. So. There are E3 tournaments. Obviously, you know about those. There's a Smash tournament that's coming. That's going to be at E3. There's a Splatoon tournament that's going to be at E3. Nintendo is announcing their E3 plans earlier than usual. And Bill Trinen was interviewed, and he was asked, "Oh, you know, you guys are really announcing stuff really early." And he said, "Yeah, we actually have even more plans to announce later on." And obviously, that's pretty much almost non-news, but basically, there are more things that could be coming. What do you guys think that is? Are there going to be more tournaments? Is it going to be something else? What do you think's going on with Nintendo's E3 plans this year?
I wonder if they'll announce, like, you know, what the main theme of E3 will be. You know?
Will it be a main theme?
I think it will. I think there'll be a main theme, just like, you know, with Breath of the Wild and stuff like that. Like, I think there will be a main theme of this E3. And I don't think it's going to be, you know, it's not going to be a secret game, obviously. I don't think that would be possible to them to, you know, have an unannounced game as their, you know, E3 show floor decorations and stuff. So maybe they'll announce that, you know, Pokemon is getting, you know, the treatment there, or maybe Fire Emblem or something like that. Although I don't think Fire Emblem would be cool enough for that, or big enough, not cool enough. It would look really cool, but I don't think it's big enough. Maybe Smash. Maybe it would be all decorated like Smash. I think maybe what they'll announce is kind of more stuff like that. You know, stuff like, hey, this is the theme of the E3 this year.
Yeah. I don't think Fire Emblem's the kind of game that is accustomed to that level of limelight, like a spotlight. Like, it doesn't, they don't usually do that. So, yeah, I don't think so. Anyways, see you later, Vegeta-san. But, I think Smash has a good chance of being that featured game. Pokemon also could be that featured game. It also could be something else. Like I was talking about earlier, like Nintendo, you know, has shown this trend where they're kind of lining up a major release every month, and I think towards the holiday season, they're going to have pretty much new games. And we all believe, well, most of us seem to believe that Smash is coming out probably September, and Pokemon, if it's coming out this year, traditionally comes out in November. So could there be an October game? Could there be a December game? You know, I think Fire Emblem could take up one of those spots. And there could be another game there. Maybe that other game could be the big emphasis at E3. If it's not, but it also could be Pokemon. I mean, if Pokemon's a big deal. Maybe that's what they'll be focusing on. Like, Pokemon could be the theme of the show.
What if it was Metroid?
I want it to be Metroid, but I'm gonna, you know.
You would die. Straight up.
I want it to be Metroid, but I'm just gonna kind of, like, you know, stop because I know most of you guys disagree with me. So, you know.
I almost died when I saw that, like, Zelda one. I was like, I want to be there.
Yeah. There's, although they could announce, do you think they could announce another tournament? So here's a hypothetical idea, just since you mentioned Metroid, right? There's been talk that Metroid will have, like, an online multiplayer mode. That's been the talk, you know. That's not my idea. That's just been the speculation that's out there. So if that's the case, maybe they want that to also be a way to highlight their new online service. And if that's also the case, maybe they'll have another tournament at E3 for a game that, you know, hasn't confirmed to have a multiplayer mode yet. What if they have a Metroid tournament at this year's E3?
I feel like if they did that, they'd have to announce the Metroid stuff beforehand, because
Would they?
for tournaments you have
You're
to
probably
get
right.
people to participate in the tournament. They don't just go out, to the show forum like, hey, you want to participate in the Smash tournament? No, they go and they invite special people to be in these tournaments. So they'd have to let at least them know, like, now. This is why they're announcing the Smash and Splatoon tournaments, and because they're inviting people and stuff, so
Right.
they're announcing it. So I feel like if they didn't announce that now, that's just not going to happen.
Well, what if they just? I mean, what if they had people who most of the names are already going to be at E3 though. So like, what if they have some? Even if it's not Metroid, it could be something else. What if they have another unannounced tournament and they bring on people, the people that are already there, already competitive gamers or big names in the industry. They're like, hey, you guys, why don't you come out and do this? Or maybe they'll say there's gonna be a game that they want them to play in a tournament for. Like they won't say what it is, right? But they'll tell people, hey, be prepared to play something else. It's a possibility, I think. I don't know how much history there is to that, so I'm not gonna say this is likely. It's just an idea. I think it would be cool, but then again, there could be all sorts of other stuff they would do. If it's not a tournament for another unspecified game, what other kind of announcements aside from the digital event and the treehouse could there be, if there's anything else?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't know, other than just the theme, of it in general. I'm not sure what they could announce without getting into actual game announcements. Because I mean, I guess they could announce like their schedule, like, oh, this is the time and date when we're gonna do this. How long the presentation will be. This is how long the treehouse will be going on for such and such days. Like they could announce that, but in fact, I think they will announce that. But as far as anything like major, I don't know what they could announce.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna side with it. Those are probably the two tournaments. I think most people in the chat agree that this is probably gonna be just the two tournaments. They may need to announce a theme, but here's an interesting thing. Actually, I saw Tony the Expert brought it up. He thinks the Pokemon announcement will probably be before E3 if it's coming this year, and maybe they would go into more details at E3. But here's the thing that I kind of noticed when he said that is that, well, if they are gonna announce Pokemon before E3, which I agree with. Maybe Pokemon won't be the game that gets like the big emphasis at E3. And some people suggested that it could just be a joint effort between Smash and Pokemon. But, maybe maybe Pokemon will not be getting it, right? And Smash is already getting the tournament, right? So if Pokemon gets its big direct before E3 and Smash is getting a tournament, maybe there's something else that Nintendo has planned. It's kind of major. That's going to also be for this year. Maybe it's Animal Crossing. Maybe it's Luigi's Mansion. Maybe it's that Mother 3 localized. Oh, that's not something that's worth like a whole... Yeah. Or maybe it's Retro Studios game.
I don't think you can theme it around a game that hasn't been announced, though, because you're just going to spoil the announcement. Because people know the theme. Because you can see them putting the stuff up.
Well,
like,
hold on
a second. Hidden.
Well...
Yeah, I think it has to be a game we already know about. And they sort of have been teasing. I don't know what game fits.
Well,
that.
Doesn't like the Nintendo. You go first, Will.
I'd say Smash because of just like multiple people have pointed out on Twitter. It's like Smash is just that game. You don't really need much to kick off a huge hype train. So I think it'd probably be Smash. Like we already know the general basis of it: Mario, Link, Samus, Kirby, Pikachu, stuff like that. Like I can see Smash being the most likely.
Yeah, I mean, Smash definitely has a notoriety to be the focus of E3. I definitely agree with you. I just think that since they already have a Smash tournament announced, there could be something else that sort of takes, like, an emphasis at their E3 booth. And here's the thing, though. Like, even though, yeah, there are people who put up, like, stuff before E3, technically, don't they have it, like, hidden until after the presentation?
Yeah, but, I mean, banners and, like, they leak it all the time.
Right.
Okay.
Super Mario Maker got leaked that way.
Well, like, okay, here's an example. Breath of the Wild, we didn't really... When Breath of the Wild had the entire show themed around it, it was a game that was already announced, but we didn't really know much about the game. So, I don't remember there being leaks of the booth. And I was I don't remember there being
There
leaks.
were leaks of some parts of it, if I remember correctly. Like the fact that it was themed was very apparent. It's not that it's a game that it's not can't be a game that we don't know much of. I don't think it can be a game we don't know is coming because like it would be on like the banner that you get for like the press, like that key chain like thing. What's that called?
The past thing?
Yeah, the pass thing, but there's like a specific name for it. But
I know
you know
what
what
you're
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's on that.
Plus, Nintendo themselves gave away that Zelda would be the whole focus of it.
Right. Well, my point being is just that we knew it was going to be Zelda before the show, but I just don't remember the booth being leaked before. Like, because the booth was kind of a surprise when after the presentation. That's my memory of it. I would have to, obviously memory is a little, it's not the most reliable source of information. I'm just saying that maybe they could have some surprise that is the focus of the booth, and we don't really know much about it until it's shown. They showed
Super Mario Odyssey's booth
before the show.
Sure I'm pretty sure
we knew it was gonna have an emphasis. I'm just okay. Well,
I'm pretty sure they showed the Odyssey, and it had Mario Odyssey playing on it.
Okay, so then maybe I think Smash is the safest bet, but I think Nintendo's definitely have some surprises for sure. As Historic Duel pointed out, Nintendo will have a bombshell or two. That's what he thinks. Look at last year's E3. Like there were bombshells. So
Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon.
Bill kind of just stated the obvious. It was like, did you know Nintendo's holding stuff back for E3? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, hey, there have been a couple E3s. There have been a couple E3s in the past where there weren't any surprises. The surprise was that there was no surprise. That was the Wii U era. But I think Nintendo is in better times now, so I definitely expect a few pretty surprising stuff.
Even 2015, there were surprises.
Paper Mario Color Splash was a surprise, actually.
That game is not a bad game. Let me just say, it's not bad. It's not amazing. It's not bad.
It's just something. Just the point being, it's just something that they saved for E3. Like they just saved it.
Like, I just feel like I had to defend it real quick.
Yeah, even in the Wii U era, they still had surprises.
Yeah.
Just answering a question from the chat, Sabbath. Last year, the Nintendo's E3 booth was modeled. The theme was Mario Odyssey, and then the year before that was Breath of the Wild. So 2016, Breath of the Wild theme. 17, Mario Odyssey theme. 18, I'm thinking that there's a game that's going to be a theme. I think Smash, as Will pointed out, is the most likely. It has a notoriety. I don't feel Fire Emblem could be it, and in my opinion, because Pokemon's going to be probably a direct before E3, I also don't think that will have its own themed booth.
I don't think that takes away from it having a themed booth. I mean, like, we had already seen Breath of the Wild, revealed and at the Game Awards before,
But also keep in mind that Pokemon Company likes to handle Pokemon in their own way, right? Like, so the E3 booth is more Nintendo stuff, and while yes, Nintendo has a stake in Pokemon Company sort of likes to operate their, and display and advertise their game in their own way, which is why we usually get Pokemon Directs aside from the main Nintendo Directs.
Honestly, I think we'll get a Pokemon Direct this month. April is usually the time. So
last year, Ultra Sun and Moon was announced a week before E3 in June.
They had talked about it before.
There was no name. No, but Ultra Sun and Moon
they had artwork and stuff. Yes.
Artwork. There was artwork, but there was no name announced until June. There was no trailer, no name until June.
I thought it was earlier.
But there was artwork. You're right. No, that was for Sun and Moon. That was a game before that. That was the year before. Ultra Sun and Moon, I don't think there's any official announced media for it until June. I think you're confusing that artwork for Sun and Moon, not Ultra Sun and Moon.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Sun and Moon.
Right, but I'm talking about Ultra Sun and Moon. Ultra Sun and Moon, which is confusing, but last year, Ultra Sun and Moon was announced and revealed a week before E3. In June.
Yeah, Ultra Sun and Moon, but I don't think that's like, the third game kind of thing.
It was the expansion generation. It wasn't like, oh, new generation. Yes, I see what you're saying. So it wasn't like, it's not as major of an announcement as the original Sun and Moon or X and Y.
Apparently we had the first Sun and Moon trailer in February. So
right. So Sun and Moon actually was like basically advertised all throughout the year, right? Like they revealed little like Pokemon like every few weeks, right? But Ultra Sun and Moon, they were just like, nope. You know, they just popped it up in June. But because Sun and Moon was a whole new generation, they hyped it up all throughout the year. So it's interesting, right? So like if we're expecting Pokemon Switch to be a new generation, if it's a new generation, it's kind of late for it to be shown off at this point. If it's more like an expansion and it is coming this year, then, you know, it's not. But, I mean, most people are sort of expecting it to be a new generation, right?
I'd assume. I don't think it's going to be in, like, Alola or anything.
No, sure. I don't think it's going to be Alola. We got Alola 2 years in a row. So I think that even if it's not a new generation, I think they're going to do something else.
Yeah, I still think there could definitely be a Pokemon Direct this month.
No, yeah, it's certainly possible for sure. Yeah, definitely. I think we're already done with the E3 announcements, kind of. I think we're just gonna kind of get into like the, you know, just kind of interacting with the chat, just asking your guys questions. What do you guys think? And you know, you guys can tell me your ideas. So Sabbath is asking, what are you guys hoping to be announced at this year's E3?
Animal Crossing. I think it's shoo-in. I mean, I've said it a million times before. We got the mobile app. Every time there's a mobile app, there's the main entry. I think it's just dead. I'm 99% sure we're gonna see Animal Crossing at this E3. Just gonna say that right now. Yeah, my predictions. Early E3 prediction.
Well, you know, I already put out my E3 predictions. You can check out my channel if you haven't seen it already, right? But I think we're gonna see Pokemon Smash and probably Fire Emblem and Yoshi and even Metroid. But in terms of my hopes, like, let's take predictions out of the window. Like, there's no logic here, just what I straight up want, right? My logic is Smash, Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Yoshi, and if I'm 50-50 on Metroid. I'm like 58% Metroid, right? That's what I think, you know. But what I just want, like, straight up, I want F-Zero. I want a Mother 3 HD remake, as someone pointed out in the chat earlier. I think it was Tony, was it you? I'm not remember who it was. I'll have to double check that. But a Mother 3 HD remake made by Retro Studios, F-Zero, and I still want Metroid Prime 4 is also my dream game. And then Pokemon is gonna look like Breath of the Wild with Pokemon in it. Those are my wishes. Those aren't realistic expectations. That's what I want to see. And also Wave Race. You know, I would love it if they were to announce a new Wave Race and a new F-Zero and a Mother 3 HD remake. That would be, like, divine. It would be divine. But those, like I said, those are just wishes. They're not expectations. I don't think they're going to happen this year. Or Mother 3, maybe never, right? But, you know, those are my wishes.
Got it. Okay.
I guess for me... Do you have anything?
Oh, did you not go, Brandon?
No, you can go first. You haven't spoken in a while.
I thought you were done, Brandon, when you said Animal Crossing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I can go after Will, though. That's fine.
I'd say expectations that are like out there, I guess. I don't know.
High in the sky here, man. Anything goes.
Okay, had to be sure. Bayonetta 3. I guess. This is a hard one, actually, because Andres just went to the moon.
Yeah.
I would like every single game in existence to come to the Switch.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I would like a Switch revision. I would like a Switch revision with unlimited storage to come out.
Nice.
I would like a 4K Switch as well. I would like Uncharted
4K dock or a 4K Switch?
No, 4K Switch tablet.
4K
little
on the tablet.
Okay. Also, yeah, a little itty bitty. They should make it smaller and thinner. I want a 4K tablet like that.
With no bezel.
No fan either. No fan.
It's all just air cooled, whatever the heck they call it.
Yeah, it's just beefy. It just can't attract heat. That's just beefy. It's magic. But no, I would like Sonic Adventure remakes on the Switch. I would like the Devil May Cry HD collection to come to the Switch. I would like to know what on earth Capcom are doing with the Phoenix Wright series. Because they did tease it sort of, and then they did it. I would like that Tales of game they teased, but way back at the Switch event. I would like I would like a whole bunch of stuff, but I guess that is the general of what I want.
I mean, that'd be a pretty stacked E3. Probably be the best E3 of all time.
Oh, virtual console for like, and I would like the Wii U and like the PlayStation 2 to be on the
virtual console, but for free. While we're at it.
Virtual console for free.
It's like the ultimate Nintendo ambassador program, right? Because anyone who's ever owned anything Nintendo, even a sticker, is automatically eligible for free virtual console games for a lifetime.
Right.
Yep.
Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, and Wii U virtual console. That'd be fun.
And Sega Saturn.
PS4 virtual console on my Switch.
Yeah. So I mean, those are very realistic expectations. For anyone who doesn't have a good sarcasm meter, I'm joking, But those are some really good, like, fun ideas. But
I guess I'll just limit myself to 5 slightly more likely ones. Instead of PS4 virtual console.
Yeah, I went to the moon, but Will went to Jupiter.
Will went to frickin' Pluto.
Planet X.
He's out of the galaxy. He's not even in the
Milky Way. He's in the Andromeda galaxy.
Right.
Oh, speaking of galaxies, Super Mario Galaxy 3, 4, and 5.
Oh, right. No, yeah.
3, 4, and 5?
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Also,
all in the same year.
Switch $300 price cut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The world needs that. I don't know why Nintendo hasn't done that already.
Yeah.
They should be paying us to buy this thing.
But Brandon, before you continue, I want to reference a couple things I saw in the chat, and we'll get back to your wishes. So just like some things that Tony the Expert's talking about, like he's saying that for toy merch reasons, he thinks they have to reveal it by mid to late May, right? And then he also went on to say that first they have to reveal Pokemon for the movie, then they're open to announce Pokemon Switch. I agree. Typically, what happens is that they need to reveal every Pokemon that's going to be out for a generation before they start showing off media for the next generation. And there's a Zeraora, the final legendary Pokemon for Sun and Moon. That generation hasn't been shown off or revealed yet, and it's expected to be revealed for the Pokemon movie. So once that's shown off, then we can maybe expect to see the, Pokemon Switch to be shown off. And here's the thing, what if, just an idea, what if they have the Pokemon Direct, they first have a trailer for the movie? I don't know if they've ever done that before where they talk about the movie in a Direct, but it would be a neat idea, right? And then, so they show off the Pokemon in the trailer for the movie, and then after that they have a trailer for the next Pokemon game, and then, okay, let me rephrase. So, what if, right, they have a Pokemon Direct, and I'm not saying this is realistic, this is just like an idea, right? Maybe, but I don't know. They have the Pokemon Direct. The first thing they show off is the trailer for the movie. The movie has Zeraora, the final legendary Pokemon, the final Pokemon for generation, Sun and Moon. And then, also in the movie, they have a new Eevee evolution, which is a crossover Pokemon that's in the next Pokemon generation. They have both of those Pokemon in the movie, right? So it becomes a crossover movie, which has the legendary and a Pokemon from the future generation, right? And then after that, they talk about the next Pokemon game. Just an idea, maybe, but I don't think they've ever had a Pokemon movie trailer in a Direct. So that's why, or I think it probably won't happen, but you never know.
I understood about half the words you just said. So.
Me too.
Why? Because you don't know that much about Pokemon, or because
it's just because
bad?
Pokemon. It's just Pokemon. I'm just nothing about Pokemon makes sense to me.
Oh well,
it's like
you need to get
Pokemon
on that.
And new legendaries and Eevee evolutions, and it's just like I know kind of sort of what these things are.
You should play more.
That's
Pokemon
what happens
games.
Anytime you talk about Pokemon, that's what happens. It's like, okay, sure. I pretty much just agree with anything you say because I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
It's like, probably true.
Andres alone knows what's best for the Pokemon series.
Amongst us three, yes. Amongst us three.
For sure, amongst us three.
But amongst the rest of the world, not so much. Yeah. So, Brandon, what about your wishes?
Okay, all right. So I'll limit myself to 5. First one being a Unreal Engine 4 remake of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask with bundled in the HD remakes of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. That's 1. It's 4 games, but it's all in one cart.
Wait. Were you saying a remake for Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, and what?
No. So there's Unreal Engine 4 remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Those are the new remakes, and then bundled in with those 2 remakes is the HD remakes from the Wii U of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker.
Right, that makes sense.
All in one package. One package.
Are you sure you want the Twilight Princess HD remake?
That can not come, but preferably maybe could kind of sort of add value, maybe.
I mean, while you're at it, you might as well just improve it, make it better.
True, very true. And then second, I want Unreal Engine 4 remake of the original Xenoblade Chronicles with an HD remake, or like Xenoblade Chronicles X remake. And then for my third one, oh gosh, let's see here. I want actually good new Star Fox game.
Impossible. I'm sorry. There is no such thing. I don't care what Wishland or Dreamland. Like, there's no way. I would love that, actually. I miss the Star Fox series. Like, not counting Zero.
Right. And I guess for my fourth one, I would want a new 2D Zelda game. Which actually I think could happen, honestly. Probably not this year, but next year, I think. Sometime in between now and the next 3D Zelda game, I think we'll see a 2D one. But anyways,
like a Link Between Worlds, or like true 2D?
Like a top-down 2D, not like, Zelda 2.
I would like for them to do like a Octopath style of that, but go ahead.
Oh, that'd be interesting. For sure.
Yeah, like a Link Between Worlds.
You know what I would like? Like, there was like this trailer. It was not real. It was just like a fan-made trailer of like an ultra like 2D stylized like Wind Waker kind of game where it was 2-dimensional, but basically the entire thing looked like a painting, like a real, not like Skyward Sword painting, like a 2D moving painting, like almost like an animated cartoon the entire time. 2-dimensional.
Interesting.
Be a lot of drawing.
Right.
Be a lot of drawing.
Brendan wants all Zelda games.
Dude, every Zelda game ever, just on the Switch in Unreal Engine 4 remakes. That's
on one cartridge.
But
one cartridge, yes.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Before you can play that, you have to play from beginning to end without stopping Zelda 2. If you do that, you can get all of this.
A Link to the Future.
That's nice. I would die.
Yeah, because Zelda 2 is like the hardest Zelda game ever made. I
die in the game, I die in real life from my game.
Yeah.
Sword Art on Zelda.
And I guess for the fifth one, I had an idea for the fifth one, but I think I forgot it. Hold on. It will come back. Maybe.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Zach is back. You had the best idea. Best idea. Period. 3D pixelated Advanced Wars. Will, you were talking about a Zelda in the Octopath Traveler style. Imagine Advanced Wars in the Unreal Engine sort of Project Octopath style. That would be so perfect. That is literally what they need to do to move forward with Advanced Wars. Because I love the 2D style. Like, that is Advanced Wars. Like, that sprites when they go into the battle animations. Bro, fantastic idea.
Mm-hmm. And I guess for my last one, I'll go with Unreal Engine 4, Luigi's Mansion 3.
You just want everything on Luigi's on Unreal Engine.
Dude, everything needs to be on Unreal Engine. It's like amazing. Looks so good.
Unless it's a Breath of the Wild engine.
Yeah, that's why I actually mentioned that when I said like all the Zeldas. Not Breath of the Wild, because you gotta get that. Actually, I think you can add engines on top of Unreal Engine, so they might be able to add the physics engine into Unreal Engine, have it work simultaneously.
Just evolve it.
Yeah. Mesh the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my 5,
Okay.
which is also like
I would
20 games in there.
I would like a Nintendo developed Sonic adventure game. Like just Nintendo going all in on a Sonic game.
I mean,
Yeah, Nintendo could probably do Sonic better than Sega can, honestly.
Yeah.
well, Nintendo would consider what made Sonic good, right? And be like,
Right.
okay, this is why people loved Sonic. Okay, so let's create a new Sonic game that that encapsulates those concepts, right? And then just make it awesome. Yep.
I think
That's how they make Mario and Zelda good.
I think to an extent they would know some elements that the fans that made Sonic Mania would know or wouldn't know. So yeah.
Yeah. Although I will say that I feel like when it comes to music, Nintendo would get it wrong.
But
I doubt it.
Like they always create good music, but I feel like they'd come up with a different style of music for Sonic, and Sonic fans kind of want more of like that fast-paced, like sort of like rock band
Super
kind of.
cringy, like
So like the song at the end of Super Mario Odyssey. I think Nintendo.
But that was the
Yeah.
one song.
But that's a really good song. Like they know what they're doing when it comes to rock.
No, they make good music. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that they would have like a different design that what Sonic fans might expect.
I doubt it. And it'd
I
probably
think
be
they
good
We'll
for
probably
them.
never find out.
And it would be good for them, even though they wouldn't know it, because Nintendo has better values when it comes to just video game development.
Nintendo knows, like we think we know what we want, but Nintendo actually knows. You know?
Right.
that is sometimes very true.
Yeah. So I think there was a question earlier. Sabbath had another question. Was it Sabbath? Yeah, he did. Do you think we'll get a new character announcements during and after the Direct? So when you say Direct, I'm assuming... I know you're talking about Smash, but do you mean the Nintendo presentation, the E3 presentation that's going to happen in June? I'm assuming that's what you mean. I don't know. I think we're definitely going to see Smash Bros. At the Direct, and with that, we will get some character confirmations. I think that's a given. I don't know... Because, like, when we see Smash at E3 this year, I think, for the record, I don't think we're going to see Smash again until E3. That's my opinion. But when we do see it, I think we're definitely going to see it during the E3 presentation, and we're going to get multiple character announcements at the E3 presentation.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably know every character that was shown off in the teaser trailer as the silhouettes. Like, every character there will be the playable characters. Like, I think every character in those silhouettes will be the starting roster, right? And everyone else will be unlockable. Maybe they'll show off a couple third-party characters during the Smash tournament, like, say, for example, Sonic, and maybe one surprise character that no one saw coming. Like, I don't know, it's a Banjo-Kazooie. That would be crazy, right? So I think...
like a DLC character to me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I would, if I had to guess, I would also agree with you. I was just kind of throwing it out there that maybe they would have a surprise character announcement at E3 besides, like, the returning characters, like one more new character that no one saw coming at E3, like something like a character that people are gonna be like, holy crap, like a Cloud, or at least like a WTF, like the Wii Fit trainer,
Right.
something that's gonna stir the crowd in some way. I think they're gonna have at least one of those after the E3 presentation, or maybe like right at the end of it.
And they might. They could have announced something. Well, I guess. Yeah, I was gonna say at the Treehouse, but probably during the
Tournament
would be better. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I doubt they'll show it off at the Treehouse if they're having a tournament.
I can see Conquer and Banjo being in Smash. Like I think that's really likely.
Both
I don't know
of them.
about Conquer, but Banjo.
Man, I would love that.
If Conquer gets in and not Banjo, I'm gonna be pissed.
Right, that would be
funny.
I think Banjo has to get in before anything else.
He's not the right word.
But if Conquer were to make it in, that'd be great. But here's the thing, though. The problem with Conquer, like, Nintendo kind of has, like, some bad blood with that franchise. Like, Nintendo wasn't terribly excited about the design choices for Conquer's Bad Fur Day. Like, it created some, non-child friendly, like, some negative media towards Nintendo. and they weren't entirely happy about all of the press surrounding Conker's Bad Fur Day back in the year 2000. From what I've heard.
Well, this Nintendo isn't that Nintendo, so.
No, but
I think we all, that's like a given. Like this Nintendo, this is like a revitalized Nintendo. Like we want mature stuff. So I think having Conquer would be like the perfect sentiment to that actually. Like
I mean,
see
Bayonetta
you guys. Right.
Yeah,
But
Bayonetta is there.
Bayonetta isn't as
toned her down
vulgar
a lot.
as Conquer, even in their own respective game.
They toned her down a lot in
They did.
Smash.
Right.
Right. I
think Conquer is more mature, ironically.
Right. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
but for the record, guys, I'm not saying Conquer can't happen. I'm just simply playing devil's advocate, like describing reason, just like counter arguments, like just considering it from different perspectives. But you're right, Will. Nintendo's more progressive now, and there is Bayonetta, so I'm not saying it can't happen, but I also think that if there's going to be a rare character, Banjo is going to come first, and having 2 would be insane. But considering that Rare at one point was associated with Nintendo, maybe they would bring Conker. It would be really nice, and it would be even nicer if Nintendo got Banjo and Conker back as like IP for Nintendo. Like if they bought them those IP, that would be. I love that. Personally.
Are you talking about Microsoft treated Banjo so well with nuts and bolts? They don't need anything.
Yeah, what would they? This is crazy, Andre.
Microsoft already knows what.
Right? Yeah, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Nope.
We want nuts and bolts too.
Yeah. So Snowman has a question. Do you all have any guesses about third-party games coming to Switch at E3? In my predictions video, I suggested that we could be seeing Grand Theft Auto 5 a port. I also talked about getting a confirmation that Beyond Good and Evil 2 would be coming to the Switch. Not exclusive, but it will also be coming to the Nintendo Switch. What else do I think, and in terms of third party, Beyond Good and Evil 2 and the Grand Theft Auto 5 are my big third party games that I think will be announced for Switch at E3.
I definitely think we'll be seeing the new Call of Duty and the new Assassin's Creed, those given kind of third parties that are coming out. But some people are not quite sure if they're coming to the Switch or not. I think they'll be announced for the Switch. I think they've had plenty of time to realize that the Switch is selling great, and with the Switch being so easy to develop for, I don't think there'll be a problem.
I think a lot. I think we should just sort of expect it, because that's not. If you're going to be entitled about one thing, you should probably say oh, okay, this is the fastest selling system, so third party should really get on. So I think we're gonna get a lot.
Third parties would be stupid not to.
Actually, Historic Duel brought up Ark Survival. That's an interesting game. Well, I think we could see that at E3 because there's no date for when it's coming out. We might get a release date for that game, or at least a release window at E3. That's a possibility. I think a Monster Hunter game is in the works for Nintendo Switch, but it will not be at E3 because normally that sort of gets a Tokyo Game Show sort of emphasis. So I think a Monster Hunter game could be confirmed and announced for Nintendo Switch, but it won't happen until months after E3.
Do you think the Dragon Ball fighting game will come?
Yes.
Dragon Ball FighterZ will come?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be announced. That's the thing.
Without a doubt.
Here's the other thing, though. I feel like with Nintendo Switch, we hear about third-party games getting announced at some random point throughout the year. I think most third parties aren't going to care too much about needing to announce a port at E3. So most ports, I don't think are going to be announced at E3. So, that's why, I mean, hey, I'll gladly eat crow for this, but I don't know if Dragon Ball FighterZ will be announced for Switch at E3. If it is, it'll be, in the Nintendo Switch presentation. Right, at the actual presentation, it has a sizzle reel. But I don't think it'll be Bandai Namco's big announcements, hey guys, check out our conference. Look, we have a port
that's
Bandai
coming. Does Bandai Namco have a conference?
It's a good question, actually. I don't know. We could double check and just check the floor map.
Actually, they don't, because Dragon Ball FighterZ was revealed on Xbox's conference.
Right. So if anything, we could see Dragon Ball FighterZ during Nintendo Switch's presentation, But I think it would be like one of those games, like, it wouldn't get like a whole segment. It would be like just one of those games that would be like in a sizzle reel or something like that.
I agree, yeah. There'll definitely be a third-party sizzle reel.
I think they'll give it the Rocket League treatment,
Yeah. So although Rocket League treatment they actually had a segment where the interviewers came up, like they interviewed the developers during the presentation.
Yeah.
So I rewatched the direct a couple times recently. That's why I remember that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I remember
FIFA, however, was just was in a sizzle reel at the beginning of the presentation. So, I still think it could just be like that.
I think they'll have topic, like, the way they've structured their directs recently, the kind of just like bam 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 bam, kind of like game, where they have like the list and stuff. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think they'll have it like that for third parties. That's what I meant by sizzle reel. I didn't exactly. I kind of got confused about the word.
Actually, Sav64 just brought up Fortnite.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll be at E3, but it would be a great idea.
It will be on the Switch, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it runs ridiculously well on the on phones, so like it can run on the Switch perfectly fine.
Do you guys think we'll see an announcement for Soul Calibur 6 on Switch?
It'll come. I think when they put
it's another Namco Bandai game.
I think when they put Fortnite on mobile, that was like the additional. Oh yeah, there's no reason it shouldn't come to Switch, because the Switch version, theoretically speaking, would have the not motion. What I'm talking about, the touch and the button control.
Oh, I got an idea, guys. What if Fortnite is gonna get like a big push with Nintendo, with Nintendo's online service? Like, what if that's part of their marketing campaign?
That would be super smart.
And maybe it would be featured during Nintendo Switch presentation. Like, oh, we even have like big online games that are gonna be on Switch. So they'll show off Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite.
I think they would show Call of Duty off there too, because that game is such a big online component.
I remember suggesting something like that a couple months earlier. That sounds like a actual good idea. I think they're gonna do something for I think that wouldn't be at E3. Like, I think they're gonna do something for the online launch.
Okay. So you don't think it'll be at E3 at all?
Nah, I don't think Fortnite is. Nah.
Oh, there's another game that we mentioned earlier that was made with Unreal Engine 4, and I was like, that could definitely come, but I forget what it was.
Snowman says that Fortnite uses your favorite engine, Brandon.
I mentioned
uses that Unreal Engine 4. Going well.
I mentioned Octopath, Dragon Ball Fighters. I mentioned Kingdom Hearts 3, and I mentioned Final Fantasy 7.
It was some.
Oh, you think Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy 7 will be at E3? I don't think either is going to be at E3.
Nah.
I just feel like Square Enix keeps on disappointing me with not saying anything.
Honestly,
it's not even a logical thing. I just think that the games won't be ready for even PlayStation this year, right? And they won't come out on Switch first. So
I don't think that Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming to the Switch, at least not for a while, just because that game's been in development for so long.
Well, part of the reason it's been in development for a really long time was they actually switched engines mid-development. So it took double the time it should have, but yeah.
For sure.
So Historic Jewel brought up an interesting point that, for Monster Hunter, you have two mainline series in the franchises. You have World, which is part of the numbered series after 4, and on, the Ultimate 3DS, and then there's a portable series. So, yeah, the portable series could be moving on to the Switch, right? So, yeah, and again, I don't think that'll be at E3, but it's a good point still, regardless. We'll see it maybe at the Tokyo Game Show in September, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Is that when the game show usually is? Tokyo Game Show?
It's sometime around there, September, October, right? Sometime close to that time. But Sabbath64 actually brought up the game I was thinking of in that Soul Calibur 6, and he says it might have Breath of the Wild link there. That game is made around 4, so I think that game could definitely come to the Switch.
I feel like it should. But, the interview with the Soul Calibur team was very... it wasn't very promising from what I remember reading from
The
it. But
person who leaked that said it was coming to the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they said it was coming to the Switch and like
right,
might
but
not
it
come to the
wasn't.
Xbox.
Well, but that was wrong because
I
Xbox is
doubt
happening.
what he says. Like people tend to take what people say. That's why I don't really believe the Capcom president when he says, "Well, you know, the Switch came out when we were already in development." Nah. I just don't believe the Soul Calibur guy or whoever he is. I don't really believe him. Like I do think that Nintendo would work with them and say, "Hey, let's get these."
Well, do we have a release date for Soul Calibur 6 yet? For the other
I can look
platforms?
it up.
Yeah, I don't get the. I don't think they were lying. I think that it could definitely come to Switch. Obviously, Unreal Engine 4. I just think it's not on the same like timeline as the other systems. So
Just 2018.
That's a given.
So
I don't even think Call of Duty would come out on the same day.
Really?
So I just think
would.
I just feel like if Soul Calibur 6 is coming, it's not coming this year for Switch.
Maybe not.
I don't know about that.
Well, I hope I'm wrong. Hey, I would love Soul Calibur 6, bro, on the Switch. I would love it. That's like one of my. It's literally like my favorite fighting game aside from Smash Brothers. So.
But it's made with Unreal Engine 4.
I wasn't saying that you didn't want it this year. I'm just saying I don't think it's likely that it wouldn't come this year. But
Okay.
I think it could come this year on the Switch just because it's made with Unreal Engine 4, and porting that is not too terribly hard.
Well, do you think they would have both Fighters and Soul Calibur 6 come out this year? Right, keep in mind that those are two games that would be coming out after E3 probably, right? So that's two of their premier fighting game series. And we don't even know when Soul Calibur 6 is coming out for the other platforms, and Switch version is probably coming out afterwards if it's coming. So I'm just kind of thinking about like the math here, the scheduling of things.
You make a good point. I think then early 2019 then.
I don't know. But I think we can all agree. I don't think that needs to be reiterated more than it already has been. That it probably won't come the same day. Like actually, I think we can guarantee that. I know that kind of seems a little condescending to repeat, but yeah.
No, yeah,
I do think that Call of Duty has a chance of being around the same day.
That's the other thing though. Like that wasn't announced for Switch. I don't understand why they didn't announce it for Switch. Like that's the thing that. Why? At this point, I feel like they should have already like announced it if it was going to be coming day and date with the other systems. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Like, it's not that I don't think it can't come. It's just I don't feel like it can come day and date anymore because it wasn't announced with the other systems. Why wouldn't they announce it for the other systems if it was going to be a day and date thing? Like, because if it was on the same, like, if it's being developed alongside the other versions, then they should also be targeting the same release date, and they would have known about it, and they would have had it with the reveal with the other systems, but they didn't. So that, I don't know, there could be a different Call of Duty kind of game coming for Switch. That's what I've heard from other people. I don't like the sound. I hate the idea of it. I hate the idea.
It'd be so dumb.
Did they specifically spit out the other like platforms? Did they specifically say, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's coming to Xbox"? And did you know it's coming to PS4? Like, I think people just like I think people just automatically presume because I don't think a Call of Duty has ever skipped those systems. Like I think those are safe to presume where the Switch really isn't. And the fact that they didn't like specifically say that it's coming to the Switch, people just assume the worst. I don't know.
I literally.
They could just be wanting to save the announcement for a bigger event. I don't know.
Yeah, I could be wrong. They could have specifically left the Switch out. I don't know.
I'm literally watching the 34-second teaser trailer right now. I'm watching it to see the end.
Did they? Oh, okay.
According to a quick Google search, they are confirmed for PS4 and Xbox. I'm pretty sure they were confirmed for PS4 and Xbox. I'm just seeing the teaser trailer to see if it mentions the platforms. Mm-hmm. But apparently it was confirmed for PS4 and Xbox, so
they obviously. If that's the case, yeah, like that's like a given. I think, yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Have they even talked about the next Assassin's Creed game? I wonder if that's even coming out this year, or if they'll do another.
That would be interesting. Yeah, I'm hoping that they do a break.
Yeah, me too.
Because that Origins came out of that, and that was actually more polished compared to what they've been releasing.
Yeah. And I mean, if there's a break, there's no way it's not coming to the Switch.
So, according to No Filter Nintendo podcast, he's saying they've never announced Call of Duty at the same time for Nintendo systems. I don't really have recollection of when they announced them, but I do remember
Probably true.
that with the Wii, they had like 4 Call of Duties, and they had a different team developing them, which also lends itself towards what you're saying, No Filter, which
You don't need to do that anymore. The gap's not big enough to need to do that.
Oh, they could do it to highlight the online. That's another thing he said. That's
yes,
pretty likely.
It's a good point. Yeah, so maybe that's what's going on. That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, they may just be saving it till I build the online to be like, oh, because I mean, like, it wouldn't be as hyped, you know, if it was just announced in the teaser trailer. He would be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, and then move on. But if, you know, you show it off in a cool way, you know, with the online stuff, I think that would generate more hype, even though that doesn't make logical sense. That hype never really is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I think it's about time to kind of call this a night, guys. Thank you, everyone, for coming by. Is there any final thoughts you guys have before we you know, bid everyone a farewell?
I don't know. Not really.
All right. Yeah, we went a little over time. We got into the third party stuff. But I thought you were gonna say something, Will.
Well, I was, but you were talking.
No.
Well, I was gonna say expect the unexpected. That's all.
Yeah. I think the E3 is gonna be some big cool announcements, for sure.
Okay. Cool. Apparently, there's something going on with the video output. I don't know if the stream is like lagging or something. It says video output low.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, sometimes YouTube does stupid stuff by itself.
Yeah, because the OBS says it's fine. I don't know what, but. Anyways, yeah, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great night, a great week. You know, check out Brandon and Will if you haven't already. And yeah, the links to all of our social media is in the description below. Well, the links to their channels in the description below. You can find all their social media at their respective channels. So yeah, I'll see you guys all really soon. If you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, put them in the comments below. And I'll see you all really soon. Good night.
Bye, guys.